Go, Charlotte. Do your thing. Do your thing, girl.
So we are go. Yeah, sorry, I'm just used to Drake being in here with microphone, and I have the whole side panel closed off. So anyway, hello and welcome to Encounter Roleplay. Hello to those watching live on Twitch, and if you're watching on YouTube, be sure to join us live for this show every 11 p.m. EST on Saturdays.
Yes, that's the one. I think it's the time now, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I just have to try and convert it because it's like 9 o'clock here in the mountain time, and it's what, like 5 o'clock over here
on a Sunday.
Yeah, which
Sunday
is
afternoon.
hard to.
Broiling.
Yeah, I have a hard time getting my mind around that one. Okay, so today we are playing the 5th episode of Darkness in Davokar, a Symbaroum tabletop role-playing game. Let's go around the cast and the crew and figure out who we are and who we're playing. And I figure this time we'll start off with Liam. He is our GM.
Normally I'm sitting here introducing all you fellas. I'm the GM, as Charlotte just said. And my job is to try and kill the players, which according to Sean, I fail at. So I feel like Sean has to die this week. Otherwise, that's it. I'm sitting in New Zealand, as Sean said, 5 o'clock in the afternoon on Sunday, roasting in the heat. So I'm ready. I'm ready to kill some peeps, kill some characters.
Yeah, you can try. You can try.
I will.
Okay, so this next time, we will move to Yogzula because we never hit him up first.
Okay, jumping around. I'm doing okay. I have a cold this week. I have been in bed all day, so I've been trying to just get better, but I'm looking forward to this. I think this will maybe be the medicine I need. Maybe we get some cool stuff done this session, and I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome, yeah, should be good. And then we'll jump up to Pentio, Acidic Plague.
Hey, what's up? How's it going? I'm kind of sleepy again. I'm not too bad, just kind of sleepy. And while Liam's over there and Sean, they're roasting, I'm kind of cold. It's like 18 degrees, so it's like, I don't know, 60s Fahrenheit. So I'm like, I just want to like curl up and go back to bed. But I'm excited to play. I'm like, yeah, let's do some role play. Let's kill Sean.
Yeah, this will be a group effort. Yeah, and now Sean, who's playing Lothar.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether you guys are going to have to kill me or whether Lothar will just kill himself with the rolls he's been having.
Nice rolls.
I feel like it's a challenge to see if Liam kills Lothar or I kill him. Just two rolls, but yeah, no, I've had a nice relaxing week. Not quite as sweltering as Liam. I'm actually quite comfortable at the moment, but I'm having to smell the smell of barbecue across the fence, and I'm getting a little bit annoyed by it because I'm hungry. And smelling barbecue early in the afternoon on a Sunday on a really nice day is actually torture. But I'm sure some good RP tonight will make me soon forget my hunger.
Well, if you want to go dark for a few minutes while you jump over the fence and grab yourself a burger or something, we will totally understand.
just steal a sausage?
Yeah.
I like how you think. I'm not sure I could get away with it, though.
You never know until you try.
I'll roll a natural 20 and trip over the fence and die.
Yeah. Yeah, if we can get people to donate like $100 to the show, we'll get them to do that.
Okay.
I like you saying that we will get him to do that. We will get him to do that. Forgetting you have no power over me, Charlotte.
But I know where you live, and I'm bigger than you. $100 is not the hourly rate.
I'm taller than you. I'm not bigger than you, but I am taller than you.
So who's sponsoring us this week, Charlotte?
Well, before we get to that...
Let's get these sponsors going so I can get quickly to kill everyone.
Sure, but before we do that, you have to know who you're going to kill finally. So, anyway, I am Charlotte. I play Siofin, the Barbarian Ranger.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's okay. So far up to this point, I like to shoot things, so we'll see where this goes today. Last episode was a bit uneventful for actions. I tried to shoot at Sean a few times. I missed every time. We'll see where this goes. So then, as Liam was saying, we'll get this going. Before we get today's show underway, we'll just run through our sponsors quickly. We have Fantasy Grounds, our virtual tabletop of choice. All of the beautiful maps and roles you see tonight are using Fantasy Grounds, but what you don't see on our show is maps. We do not run those. You can try this for free on fantasygrounds.com. There's a demo there if you want to grab that and play around with it. You can also get all of your miniatures from Wayland Games. Go to waylandgames.co.uk and get yourself a huge range of D&D, Warhammer, and 40k minis for 20% off. And this week, check out our new sponsor, Dice Envy, who have an amazing subscription service where you get cool new dice every month. Starting at just $5, you can have access to limited run dice delivered to your door. And join us at diceenvy.com. Like I was saying in the tunnel, you can support the show by retweeting this tweet. For those who are on Twitch, you will see the tweet come up now. And then you can donate to affect the game by giving players natural 1s, natural 20s, wild magic surges, and this month's special, the Table of Pets. And that can be done by checking out the chat in Twitch right now. So without any further ado, I will hand everything over to our GM and get the show going.
That was pro as fuck, Charlotte. I think you did real good. You did real good.
Well, thank you.
I get Drake to do the links and shit. I'm terrible at this stuff. Right, so last week we left off with the party having managed to avoid a river ambush where an ogre, a bunch of trolls, and some goblins had attempted to imprison them, and the party managed to foil their trap and in the process break free from everything that was going on, and also break free of all the prep I'd done for the session, and not break free of the tyranny of bad dice rolls, which really screwed over Lothar in particular, but the party in general. But it's okay. They did all right. They got out alive. It could have been much worse. And then deciding that they had to carry on to go, but not via the river, the river goddess, the ship that they were on, with Captain Ogval, pulled over. And where we last saw the party, they were thigh deep in the water, wading their way up onto the shore as the boat that they had been previously sailing on made its way off downriver. So the party finds itself sort of a kilometre or two downstream from where you were. You didn't go that far, did you? You basically broke line of sight and had the boat pull over. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, so about a kilometre downstream, if that, which is, just over half a mile for you Americans. So you sort of made it around the corner, down the ways a bit. Ogval pulled over, you jumped out, and you're met by, like a forest that goes right up to the shores of this river. Mighty trees sort of come up and over you and hang over the river with sort of leaves and branches hanging down low as you sort of push your way into the eaves of the forest. You know what direction you roughly need to go into. You have a approximate idea of where you are on the river. To get to Malima, which I believe was your last plan, the village upstream, you could do it on foot, but you'd be looking at best case scenario, sort of 10 days travel on foot. What is your plan?
So I think immediately, and correct me if I'm wrong, what we wanted to do was push away from the water a bit. Because half a kilometer isn't really that far away. Like, they could still, surely, one of the trolls saw us land, or beach. So, we want to go in to try and get further away, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Does anyone oppose it?
No, I see we got that troll to come back and give us a lift. So, it's a lot of walking.
Too much work right now.
Yeah, you could push inwards, and you're right. You're not that far away. Like as the crow flies, everything that's going on down there could get to you fairly easily. You're far enough away that you can't hear what's going on, and you're not involved in that main fight. But it is just over there, and you'd expect them to come and look up and down the length of the river if they were to come looking for you, assuming the trolls and ogres win. So yeah, that's definitely a good idea. How far inland are you wanting to push?
I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think a few kilometers might not hurt.
What time is it?
You're getting sort of it was mid-afternoon when the whole ambush kicked off, and that was less than an hour ago. So you're sort of, 3-4 in the arvo. You've got a few hours of sunlight left. You're in.
I say we start
2 hours.
Yeah, so we start heading for at least an hour. We should probably be able to cover a few kilometers in that time, and then get camp set up. Or
okay. So yeah, you guys sort of break inland, and you find you're back in the Davokar. You've been to the Davokar before. You are quite deep in the Davokar here. You're definitely aware that the risk is a bit higher in these locations, and as you make your way through, closer to the river, it's pretty dense undergrowth, really thick. There's the sound of bugs and amphibians and everything. It's just a racket of nature as you push your way through this thick undergrowth. As the going goes on, the undergrowth gives way to slightly more open sort of covering as the bigger trees stop bushes lower down, sort of getting sunlight and growing, and you start making your way through the tight twists of the trees here. It's pretty hard going. You're in an area which doesn't see many, if any at all, sort of people coming along, or any of the other various cultural races, and you're in the thick of the wild here, truly, in the wild, and it's hard going, but you push through, driven on by the fact that apart from the fight, you've been resting up on the boat, you've been well fed, well watered, and everything's pretty good. So an hour or so goes by, and you're fairly confident you're far enough from the river that unless someone was tracking you directly, they probably wouldn't be able to find you. You're about sort of 2 kilometers or so in, about 1.5 miles. And yeah, you can tell the light is starting to drop out of the sky. Are you wanting to set up camp?
yeah, I think that'll be our best bet.
Okay. Is it is Siofin the one who's leading the search for a campsite? Being the ranger
so
that
at this point, also because usually like Pentio is sort of like the go-getter and the charger at the front. Since the battle, he's actually been really silent and not quite sullen looking, but he looks bothered and isn't speaking up at all. He's letting the party dictate everything and just going along with it.
She's probably just Siofin leading the party in through the forest, then, I imagine. Unless Firm's being a chatty Cathy, Lothar's not doing much talking either.
Yeah, Verm's not one to give pep talks to Pentio, so he just kind of follows behind doing his own thing, him and Vildsvin.
Yeah, that the ambush there would have taken a little bit out of us. A little bit more so out of Pentio than the rest of us, but... So yeah,
Pentio had some shit happen. Yeah, he had a rough time. He has will taken at one point.
He just needs a good nap, that's all.
A good nap and a Snickers. Are you? So I'll get you to roll me a cunning test, Siofin, just to see how good a campground you find.
Okay, so give me 1 second.
First roll of the night. Oh, someone forgot to sign into Fantasy Grounds, didn't they? Someone was in the tunnel and forgot. Uh-oh.
You know what? I was looking around. I was like, "What the fuck am I missing?" I knew, like, I had a portion of my screen missing, and I could not remember what it was. Should be this.
You weren't here when Liam was setting it up, so.
I'm just connecting right now.
Elevator music.
What do you want me to roll, sorry?
Cunning.
Cunning, okay. I think my cunning is 12. So just loading up right now. I do apologize.
I take it all back. I take it all back.
Okay, let's get out of there. Okay, one more screen to close out of. This is actually not doing something.
This is why you want an SSD, folks.
I got an 8,
Okay.
so my cunning passed.
Yeah. You find a good spot. You find it's slightly sheltered. It's actually a bit of a dip in the terrain, so you know that if you were to get down in there, unless someone was to walk on top of you, unlikely to see you. So you're fairly confident that you found as good a campground as you could find with such short amount of time to find it. So you're pretty cozy as you guys all rock up and with everything you hauled with you off the boat. One thing I want to point out at this point, as you take stock of everything, that after several days on the boat, you're aware that you have, luckily for you, 10 days worth of food to get you to Malima.
Are you saying that, or are you informing us? Because my equipment list says 2 weeks of rations.
2 weeks, which is 14 days, and you're on the boat for several days. So,
okay, I wasn't sure whether we were eating out of the ship stock. Okay, all right,
yeah,
checking.
And that's fine. We have two barbarians with woodcraft.
Yeah,
just wasn't sure if I needed to update that or not.
So, you set up at camp. What's everyone up to at camp? How's everyone feeling? Yeah, I mean, I imagine there's a sense of failure, even though you managed to avoid being ambushed. This is definitely a setback. So, give everyone a view as to what the mood is at camp at the moment.
I would imagine a pretty sullen one.
Yeah, really. I mean, all that's missing is rain, really. I think. You know, it's that sort of victory that doesn't feel like a victory. It's like incomplete, right? Like we've been forced. It's that sort of, you haven't won the battle, but you haven't lost the war, right? Like it's a setback. And Lothar's feeling pretty. He's keeping his own counsel, which is probably similar to Pentio, I think.
Well, yeah, because I imagine they'd both be kind of embarrassed, right? They both had their wills dominated, and then there's an extra level of shame with that, where Pentio's will was bent to surrender, which is something he would never do. He'd rather die first. And
well, I'm not sure if it's probably a little different to Lothar, because it's more like, why didn't Prios protect me? It's less of a shame thing and more of a like, where was that help, right? Like. You're supposed to be there, and why didn't you shield me from that? Which is that sort of like externalization. You're internalizing, Lothar's externalizing, if you want to put it like that.
Conversely, Verm is very proud of himself, very happy. That was a victory for him. He got the ear of the troll. So he's got his stuff like kind of splayed out before him, taking taking inventory, and his prized possession now is this troll's ear that he's got in this jar wrapped up. And he kind of rolls it around between his hands, and he looks very content. And he also has got his witch circle set up. So
you can attach it to your witch's gown. You can add an ogre ear to your troll's ear to a witch's gown. Like, oh, it's my trophy.
Yeah, that'll be pretty badass.
That's important. That's not a fashion accessory. You guys don't understand.
Make it an earring.
Oh, fuck's sake,
I have a question. I have a question about trolls in Symbaroum. Do they have the same level of regeneration that, say, first edition D&D trolls have? where like you separate a limb, it grows a new troll. Does that happen in
for the sake of this year, I'm going to say no. That is something which I pondered on last week, and I think in this case, it would be the primary part of the troll would be where it comes from. Yeah.
Okay.
It'd still be sort of associated with a soul, I guess, of sorts. So, yeah.
All right,
I could be wrong
about it. It was like it'd be hilarious if all of a sudden we had like a baby troll.
Yeah. Yeah. No. In this case, there's only one sort of conscience being, because trolls are actually intelligent creatures. So there's only one, and you happen to have a part of it, but it's regrowing that somewhere else. Whereas you've got a very dead part of it.
Yeah.
So how's our ranger taking the loss then? Well, you can define it how you want, really.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking more along the lines of what was happening behind us. Like essentially seeing the one boat fall underneath the swarm of vile greenskins. That didn't sit too well with me. I feel that we could have done something, but we couldn't have done something, or that I wanted to help somehow, but we weren't able to, I guess, be more accurate. Helping people would be more along Seofin's lines when able, helping those who have a hard time helping themselves and whatnot. It hasn't really registered as much to Pentio's domination. Wasn't really near him when a lot of that stuff went down. But maybe a little bit more disturbed as to what went on with Lothar, considering if I recall rightly, I ended up snapping him out of it.
No, you snapped Pentio. So Lothar, the concentration was broken because I think Verm did something, or you shot. The concentration broke, whereas with Pentio, he had like a morale break essentially, and you had to have like a general pattern slapping a soldier with PTSD moment.
No, Yugzula or Verm stroked his face, and that snapped him out.
Oh yeah.
There's a little pep talk.
I shot the ogre, which was dominating Lothar.
Yeah.
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 You shot it. I don't think you. Yeah, that's right. You did. You hit it with the arrow.
And it didn't hurt him.
Yeah.
It just broke his concentration.
Just he failed his con check.
So. Yeah.
He's like, you shooting me? Are you dumb?
Yeah. To be fair, though, when you look at the consequences of the domination, Pentio nearly surrendered, yes, and I can see why there's shame there. Lothar straight up smacked an ally with his flaming mace. So, on the list of things...
It was like right hand smash, left hand heal. It was like, I heal you and hurt you at the same time. It was right. You didn't make me roll to hit, because you knew if I'd rolled to hit, I would have missed him. That was clever.
Or gotten a critical hit. That would have been awesome. The opposite of what you wanted. So
that would have been a very dead Ogval, I think. So yeah. So you guys are... Yeah. I don't know if the crew would have just let you take them the boat. But, right, so you guys are sitting around thinking through that. Now, I asked you all to give me an idea of what your order of watch is, and I only got a partial idea.
So Lothar would be first, and then I think it was Siofin would be next, and then Verm or Pentio, because they've both got the same vigilance, and they didn't bother getting back to us.
Yeah,
and
as well. That, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's all right. So I'm assuming you guys are setting up camp now, because you guys are in the Davokar and you're surviving. I need to have a rough idea of how you're going about camping. Are we lighting fires to keep warm? It is late autumn. It is cold.
Within the witch circle, I can control the temperature, so that's not going to be an issue.
Oh, this guy. What a pro.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna light my witch circle.
Do you have witchcraft tradition by any chance?
No, so I would take the temporary corruption when I use it.
Okay, it's not enough to make a difference, so don't worry about this point. Cool. So yeah, you're warm. So I'm assuming if you're warm, you're not going to worry about fire. Your rations can be eaten cold, so you're just going to play it safe and all sit inside the witch circle. I'm assuming to keep things nice and safe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Might be
the
that
only thing
where
would be different. He'd apply, because he has like a weapon and armor maintenance kit. He'd like apply the oils and stuff to his armor and weapon before going to sleep.
Okay.
I'll be out of the circle during my watch, just to be able to get a better view of everything else, be able to roam around a little bit. Because the witch circle's kind of small, is it not?
Yeah, it's about 5-10 feet radius, not very big. Everyone lies down in it, you're pretty full. Okay.
I imagine Lothar would be doing as mentioned, trying to set up like little traps and scattering undergrowth and twigs and leaves and stuff around the entrance to the campsite.
So I happen to have a sheet here of pre-rolled d20s. So I'll be doing passive perception tests while you guys are in camp. So I don't want you to know if you've been missing stuff or if you should be seeing stuff. You know. Anyway, your first night goes by fairly uneventfully. The forest, you're still close enough to the river that there's all night you get the croaking of frogs and things, and it's very alive with the sound of life. And you're very much aware that you're far away from civilization. You are as close to isolated as you can get. Luckily, all this noise gives you a good idea that any survivors from the river ambush have not come your way. Next morning dawns. The weather is pretty standard. There's a bit of cloud, no rain. The morning is crisp, quite damp. There's a low bit of sort of fog clinging to the floor of the Pentio has nightmares. There's bits of
nightmares. He's not wounded, but like he's not well rested either.
Yeah.
Probably, I think we know what those nightmares would be about, huh?
Yeah, right.
That makes sense. Yeah. So you come together in the morning. There's a fog clinging to the ground, and it's a bit of a chilly morning. It would have occurred to you all as you're making plans in your head overnight that anyone from the river ambush likely is going to be moving along the river banks should they be looking for help. It seems logical that if any of the people survived, assuming that they're Ambrians, which you saw at night, so you know at least one of them is, that they'd probably go towards Malema. It's unlikely they would go south towards Castor. It's just too far away. But you also know that the logical place to go is the river. So if anyone was looking for survivors, say the ogre and his crew, they would be moving along there. It's also safe to assume that if the ogre and his crew survived, they have a boat, at least one, to be moving along the river as well, should they feel the need to settle scores. The obvious route to you, assuming you want to avoid detection, would be to stay inland and move more or less as the crow flies, sort of parallel to the river, but inland more, towards Malema, and then once you get close, find a way across the river. So with that knowledge, what's your plan?
Well, I don't think that we would want to go find the ambush that we fell into the other day. And unfortunately, I think that means we do not go looking for the survivors.
If there are any at all, I agree.
Well, it's unlikely anyone would survive such an attack, but they are not our concern anyway. We have a job to do, places to be.
Through the forest,
I agree.
So what's the plan?
Yeah. I say we head up parallel to the river, but keep our distance. it'll be the easiest way for us to keep track of where we're going. If we get too close, we start hearing it too much, then we're getting too close to it and we need to back away. I mean, there are trolls and goblins and everything else there. Where did they come from? They could be kicking around here as well, so I don't want to get lost out in the Davokar.
Okay. So, you all gather together to head off. Is there anything I need to be aware of before we set off? Is anyone doing anything in particular?
As we're setting off, can I make any number of alchemy checks to gather ingredients for our next camp?
Sure. We'll assume that if you did one before you went to bed, you can do a check then, and a check again in the morning.
Okay. I would do the same in such a case.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's fine.
Succeeded once, failed the second time, critically.
Is the first one within the witch circle?
Yeah. Your rolls would be within the witch circle, although at 20. So your Pentio is going along, sort of picking through herbs and rummaging around, and he reaches for a herb that looks very much like a sort of herb that's used in healing potions. Mm-hmm. And he reaches for it, and as he grabs it, gets a sting in his hand, as it occurs to him that this is actually an imposter sort of herb, a herb which makes itself look like this one so that it can lure in prey, and it stings you with a sharp sort of stabbing sting in the hand. Worryingly, it causes corruption. So, what's your resolute threshold?
12 now.
Oh, wow, that's really high. For your threshold, you're 50%.
No, he's asking your corruption threshold, not your resolute.
6?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, it's a D6 roll, so just don't roll a 6. Yeah, you get stung, and you feel the sharp pain going up your arm, and you get like a nasty rash on your hand. Luckily for you, the effects won't last long, but for the rest of the day, there is definitely a sharp pain in your hand, and anything that requires fine motor functions with your hands for the next few days will be at a disadvantage, just because your hands are going to be swollen up just because of that 20. Yeah. But otherwise, you know, it's bad. It's going to be real pussy. Just think of the nastiest infection you've had, and that's basically what you're dealing with. And that's in the morning, so that's right before we leave. So I guess you'd come back to camp nursing a sore hand.
All right.
Can I use my Medicus to lessen that at all?
No, it's a 20.
Okay. Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. So yeah, you guys set off. What's everyone doing now? One of you could focus on finding a path, and at least one of you should focus on covering everybody. And if you're going to be using your bushcraft to hunt as you go along, to feed yourself, you can't do either. You're either hunting, scouting, or on watch. Basically, think of it that way.
All things Lothar is not good at.
I think Penty would be, since his cunning is higher, he'd be searching for paths, I guess. His vigilance isn't quite so high.
Okay.
Yeah.
I assume Vernon just hunting?
I'm looking to see what our rations look like right now. I
About 10 days.
10 days.
10. On 9, okay. And how long is the path ahead? How many days were we thinking?
Yeah, it's 10 days, assuming you move as the crow flies and nothing slows you down. So you've got enough rations to make the journey at its shortest. Anything that elongates the journey will cause you guys to start thinking about having to do something about food.
Okay. Yeah, in that case, I mean, I could kind of work into the. I don't know if somebody we saw that makeshift sledders. I don't know where we're at, but that option is there to scout a bit with the bird if somebody was willing to carry Verm's very useless body along. But
I mean, we
otherwise,
could make another one.
The terrain here is pretty bad. You'd be struggling to. It would definitely slow you down to be using the sled. It could work, but it will slow you down. It's not a free movement act. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'd hunt a little bit on the way then, if somebody else was scouting.
Okay. And PNTO said he was looking for paths. What's Siofin doing?
I would probably scout. Highest vigilance and all.
Okay. When you say scout, you mean look out for enemies sort of thing? Or?
Yeah.
Okay. So, you guys push off. The terrain is rough going. The weather, luckily for you, holds out. A couple hours into the day, the fog around your feet has burnt off, and you're pushing through this terrain. At times, the going is really hard. Sometimes the growth gets close together. Other times, it opens up, and you're underneath the eaves of these giant trees. All around you is just the cacophony of the forest. As you get close to areas, you hear birds cut off as they take off and fly away. Every now and then you move into sort of more quiet areas, and your instincts of having been used to Davokar slow you down as you try and stop walking into any potential risks or threats. Could I please have a cunning check from PNTO and a vigilance check from Siofin? Okay.
A success on cunning.
Yeah, you find a fairly good path. After a while, you manage to you're moving into terrain where it's starting to rise. It's not just flat terrain, and you sort of manage to wind your way through the terrain and fairly safely. And luckily, you manage to keep to a path where you're hard to see from anything else that may be looking. You're being cautious, but you're making good time. Perhaps because of this, Siofin fails to see any threats, but you get through the day without being attacked. So you assume you've done a pretty good job, and you set up camp. Assuming you go through the same process, camp is made. You happily set up the Witch's Circle, and another day's worth of rations are gone. Although I'm assuming Verm is not using rations because he's hunting.
If he was able to successfully hunt, yeah.
Yeah, you don't need to roll for an individual sort of bushcraft thing like this unless you're in like certain circumstances. So you managed to find berries, roots. It's not gourmet food, but it does the trick, you know. Verm, especially being an alchemist, he knows what berries to eat, what berries not to eat, what's safe, what isn't, and you manage to avoid the worst of it. So you find enough food for you. I'm assuming that in your rations there's also rations for Vildsvin, although Vildsvin doesn't need you to carry as much weight because he also forages, if that makes sense. So you're having to feed him a wee bit, but for the most part he keeps himself happy. And your crow does that without even thinking, so it's fine. This night, unless PTO has nightmares, this night goes without any issues.
He has terrible nightmares. He's having a very, very Lothar day.
Wow.
So what does a critical failure on a nightmare look like, do you think, Ryan? I trust you to be fair here.
So not only does he not recover any wounds, but he just also flat out doesn't sleep. So like the next day, it would be like pulling an all-nighter. I'd say any check he has disadvantage on, period. So he wakes up in the middle of the night screaming, like bloody murder in the middle of the night. So it's a double whammy. He's screaming, drawing it like any attention. If anything is nearby, it's a blood-curdling scream. And then it takes a few moments of him just like panting in terror to realize that he's awake and that it was a dream.
Okay. Yeah, you guys are all, except for who was on watch at the time, which we'll assume is Lothar, the rest of you awake with the stars as the streaming goes on, and Pentio sort of thrashes about. What we'll say is all rolls for the next day, Pentio has to roll twice and takes the worst result. So yeah, you guys are all awoken by Pentio's screams as he sort of twists and turns and coils uncomfortably and breaks out in a cold sweat, sort of clawing at the earth around him.
Vern would kind of crawl toward Pentio and put a finger to his lips and
Pentio, you're making a lot of noise. What is the matter? What's the meaning of this?
Their eyes from the dark. They come clawing and crying. They're gonna kill us all.
Well, you might be right, Pentio. Perhaps you have more vision than I thought you did. But you're just sleeping unwell here.
he reaches into his sack and pulls out like a root. It's got little marks of green along it, but it's still got some dirt on it. And he reaches out toward Pentio.
Eat this. This will help you sleep.
Roll 1d8 temporary corruption.
Pentio, like, just he's coming to his senses. He sort of pushes it away and says, "No, thank you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry."
Well, if you are to wake me again in the night, you are not invited inside of my circle unless you are to indulge yourself. You'll have to make your choice.
Okay. So, the next morning rises. Pentio, red-eyed, is sitting there staring off where the sunrise should be, where he just sees the glow coming through the trees. Yet again, you're surrounded by fog, and everyone sort of comes to. Is anyone wanting to do rolls for anything in particular? No alchemy or anything?
No.
Before we get going, I would like to roll for bushcraft to get food for everybody else.
To do that, you have to stop for a day to do that.
Full day.
Yeah.
I'll roll for alchemy so long as I can. We'll be doing this. 2 rolls per double 14s. Are we doing 2 rolls or just 1?
2 because you're in your circle.
Okay.
Well, that's more for making a potion rather than searching for the ingredients. So it depends on what you're doing. If you're searching for ingredients, yeah. If you're in your circle and you're making an alchemical sort of thing, you get 2 rolls, but you can't sort of search inside your circle. You have to row for it. You know.
Okay.
That's fine. Yeah, we'll just assume that going forward. So yeah, you guys push forward now. Yeah, again. To see how this day goes, vigilance test from Theophan, cunning from Pentio. Remember, roll twice. Twice for Pentio. Pick the lowest.
No, I fail you.
Right. You guys push on through the forest. It's hard going. You get in some particularly thick terrain. You're all following Pentio, whose movements are quite heavy. You know, when you're around someone who's just tired, and his feet sort of seem to scuff, and a couple of times you can see him struggling through the day. But you have faith in him. It's Pentio. He's never let you down before. And by the end of the day, Pentio may be coming to this realization, while the rest of you you can decide if you do or not based on a cunning test. But Pentio would know by the end of the day that he's not 100% confident on his position or the direction he's been leading you in. Lothar also knows.
With a cunning of 7. It's my lowest stat. Congratulations, Pentio. So you probably have like a...
What do you do with this information, Lothar?
I just... So what might be an interesting tell that Lothar would pick up on? Maybe he tracks the sun. Maybe that's his thing. And so he actually has a decent sense of dead reckoning. Maybe that's about it for as Lothar's
Yeah,
sense
because
of
the
light.
direction you're heading in, you're heading sort of east to northeast. So you'd expect the sun to be falling slightly forward off your left shoulder, right? And you notice that it's falling behind you, almost behind you and to the right. So you're convinced instead of having gone northeast, you've gone more straight east, if not slightly even southward. By the end of the day, anyway. You don't know what you're doing in the middle there.
Why have we taken the path east? This does not seem correct.
You're right. And that's all Pentio offers, is that you're right.
Was this intentional?
Obviously not. The forest has turned us about. We'll right our course.
The forest is not responsible for turning us about, Pentio. I believe it's you. You refused my medication the previous night, and now you've gotten us lost. What is wrong with you?
Whoa. He is doing his best right now. Let's give him a break. We can get back on track. We don't have time to debate and argue amongst ourselves. Let's just keep going. We know where we're going now.
Right, I've failed.
As a good Ambrian, you should be praying to Prios for some guidance, because you seem to be both spiritually and practically unmoored. Perhaps Prios can give you some guidance. Well, Prios is the reason why I noticed we have headed in the wrong direction.
Pentio looks thoughtful at this, and then what do you propose?
Well, I think a night of prayer should perhaps calm your mind. And we will see what we can do about this tomorrow.
Looking sort of exhausted and just completely drained, Pentio sort of nods sheepishly and agrees to a night of prayer.
Prayer will not cure him of his infection. Do you see his arm, Lothar? Corruption crawls up inside of him. Medication is all that will do.
Symptom of the same cause, lack of faith.
Well, you had better hope you don't catch the same infection, Lothar, for you may die. You think you can pray it away. But if you want to wait the night, I'm fine with it.
Your ignorance is amusing to me.
Whatever you say, Lothar. Go join Pentio in prayer. I will go hunt.
Okay.
What time is it right now?
It's evening. You're setting up camp. Like you didn't really tell you were lost until evening when the sun was coming down, and because the way the sun cut through the trees, it made it apparent that you weren't going in the direction you all thought you were. That's when it became really obvious, and you're in the process of building camp.
I think Lothar probably, as the sun sets, there's some prayer or something for the setting of the sun. And, forgive us our trespasses of the day and shield us through the long night or whatever. There's probably some sort of prayer that Prios has. And he'd probably lead Pentio in that tonight in an attempt to sort of calm him. And hopefully he gets better sleep tonight. And that's Lothar's contribution. He's going to try and persuade Pentio through some sort of leadership, sort of to bolster his morale for the night.
Okay.
Some lullabies might work too.
That might be pushing it. Prayers are all you're getting. You're not getting lullabies. This is Ned Flanders you're talking to. We have our prayers. Verm goes off collecting supplies. Theophan, I'm assuming, sort of takes a bit of a watch, and then we go through the night. And again, we go through a night unhindered. Can we have a roll for Pentio? If you fail this, you still have the same effect because you haven't had a proper sleep yet. Does he have a slight advantage from Lothar having sort of tried?
No, gods don't exist.
Damn it.
I don't critically fail, but I don't succeed either.
Okay, so we'll maintain the same. Like you're not rested. You need a rest to sort of get over this. I think that's fair. Do you think that's fair?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do I still have the disadvantage on fine motor skills?
Your hand will be more or less coming better at this point. We'll say one more day and it's good to go. The swelling's coming down and you can get to, you're thinking it's almost safe to put rings back on your fingers, like that state. I got stung right there by a wasp once and it was bad. Like, ever since I've had a fear of my hands being stung. But another day and you'll be right. So, can we please have another 2 rolls from also Verm can roll his searching rolls. You're in good terrain to find all this stuff.
Pentio, following another restless night, would say that he can't lead. It's going to have to be someone else.
Yeah, I'll take the...
Well, that's what I was going to say, Chauvin. You, go ahead. Take the lead.
Yeah, we'll make sure we get back on track. Sorry?
Oh, your cunning's all right. Okay. Right, so if Siofin doing that, I'm assuming Lothar's going to take over scouting for enemies as you go. So Lothar, roll your vigilance.
Sure.
Can Pentio help since he's not guiding?
Is that high? No? Okay.
That's not high enough.
And
my vigilance is 9. I've got the lowest in the party.
Siofin,
it's not a critical fail.
Rely on cunning to find a good path. This is more of a cunning thing.
Nope.
Okay. So you carry on. You're not 100% sure what direction to go, basically. You start off on the wrong foot and you start moving. Could I please have everybody roll me a vigilance test? You start moving sort of across the terrain and doing your best to sort of make your way through it. Oh, wow. And you're not sure where you are. You really struggle and you push on. However, Siofin's the first to see it and she points it out and Lothar spots it straight away. You do see winding through trees, so this is about mid-afternoon, 2 in the afternoon, a path. Not a well-worn one. Not one which has seen any sort of recent use, but there is a definite path. There is hard mud where undergrowth and things would be. There's no bushes growing over this. It doesn't look like it's recently used. You can see looking at it that there's no prints in here recently. The prints you can find, historical as they are, a sign of animals, but you're not really sure exactly what. You don't know what's been coming and going along this path. You just know that it is a path. And as best you can tell, it is heading more or less in the direction you need to go. As far as yardsticks in your current lost state, it's about as good as you're going to find without coming up with some other plan.
Well, paths tend to lead to civilization, so we follow this north.
Paths tend to lead to something. They don't always lead to civilization. Or not civilization as we know it.
Well, in civilization as we know it is
surprisingly
troublesome.
wise. Well, we are headed to a particular outpost of civilization, so...
Well, the devil we know versus the one we don't. Besides, we don't plan to stay long.
That's true.
No.
Seems like a good sign.
So
I remain a bit apprehensive about it, but we will follow it.
Okay. You set off along the path. It's not a wide path. You have to go along it in single file. At times, you have to duck below trees and bushes as they reach over the path. You get more of a game path feeling from this, but there are times where it moves with a straightness that you sense must have been man-made. it's an odd one. It doesn't sit right with you as you move along it, but it does expedite your travel. You find yourself moving more or less in a dead straight line for a considerable distance. At times it meanders around terrain, but it's undoubtedly going in the approximate direction you need to be going in. And this is affirmed by the end of the day when the sun begins to set and you recognize the sun over your shoulder in the direction it's supposed to be. And you find a sheltered spot to take camp. We go through camp. This one is also unhindered. Pentio's hand at this point would be more or less good, back to normal. Okay. Verm can make his rolls. Pentio might want to try and actually get some sleep.
Can I, at this point, it's been 3 days without good rest. Can I get any sort of advantage on it? Like,
yeah, right. Roll twice and pick the best roll.
I mean, Lothar will hit you over the head with his mace if you want.
Right, Pentio finally. Okay, he has a good sleep. You passed out. So much so it's actually a struggle to wake him up for his watch. He's having that sleep you have, and you've been at work all week doing early starts and late finishes, and you just pass out. Otherwise, the night moves on as normal. You all sit inside the witch's circle. It's a nice warm temperature when everything else around you is crisp. You wake up in the morning, there's mist all around you, which never seems to enter the circle, and you get up to move on. As you're following the path, we don't need someone to roll to find a path. We only need a vigilance roll from Siofin. You move along this path. It is, like I said, more or less straight through the wilderness. It's hard-packed earth, and it seems, well-traveled, but not recently, not frequently. But at some point, this was a well-traveled path. The way trees even seem to not avoid it, but like it's been plotted in such a way that trees have grown away from this. It's been here longer than a lot of the undergrowth. It is a very old path. As you're moving up ahead, it's the first to notice it is Siofin, a stone wall, ruined, crumbling, some 10 feet high in places, although, as I say, crumbling, makes its way across the path, which moves directly up to the wall as if the wall was not there. It's not a large wall. It's only a dozen or so meters wide before the ends sort of crumble off. But it sits astride the path, exactly. The other side, the path emerges from under the wall and carries on as if the wall was never there.
I am going to stop everybody and get them to stay on the path for a minute while I kind of move off the path to the side to see if I can see around it at all, to see if there's anything lingering, lurking, hiding.
What'd you roll for your vigilance? 8. Yeah, you move off the path and move around, and it just seems like the wall is just built across the path. It seems as if the path was probably there first, because the path carries on. The path literally, like, there's no stopping foundation, wall, foundation, path. The path just hits wall and carries on the other side as if the wall was never there. But the wall is quite clearly there, made of stone, old, pitted, covered in vines and lichen, but there.
And the road's just dirt, right? Like there's no... Mm-hmm. As we get closer and closer to the wall, the path doesn't transform into like some cobbles or anything like that.
No, it is packed dirt. Like if you've ever gone for a walk in a nature reserve or something and you've seen a packed dirt path, this is what this is.
Yeah.
I'm going to pick up a rock and throw it at the wall, because this is boggling me. I don't know what to think of this. In the back of my head, I'm thinking treasure.
Lolo's just going to scan the surroundings to see if there's anything behind them.
Lothar, roll the vigilance. Siofin, you pick up a stone and you throw it, and it bangs against the rock wall and clatters to the ground. Nothing happens. Lothar is fairly confident there's no one around you as well.
Okay, I turn to Lothar and tell him to go check out the other side of the wall.
Lothar's going to do his best to creep around the side of the wall.
Okay.
Making as little noise as possible.
You creep around. Roll discreet.
Yep.
Yeah, you're pretty fucking quiet. You make your way around it. You manage to avoid the loose stones that have fallen from it. And you get around the other side. The path carries on. The wall, all 12 meters of it, is just here on its own in the middle of the forest, sitting astride the path.
Unusual.
There's no inscriptions or markings or anything on the wall, on the stone or anything.
Do you have Lawmaster?
No.
No, there's not.
You probably just hear Lothar say, "Well, it's clear on this side."
Pentio approaches the wall and just says, "Very unusual. I guess we just go around."
Well, this is the nature of this Davokar. There will be things like this from time to time.
Is it just like a straight wall, or are there foundation stones anywhere else, or like just
It looks like
a wall?
It looks like a well-built wall. Like it looks like it's meant to be there. The path just sort of carries up and through it as if it wasn't there.
Usually, I mean, this is common sense. Usually, if stuff's sitting in a jungle like this, it'll be overgrown with plant life and things, right?
Yeah,
Is there plant life growing in the stones? Yeah. Okay.
There's vines, lichen, all of that. It looks old. It's ruined. The wall doesn't just sort of stop. It crumbles off as if there should be more wall. There's just no more wall. It's just this 12-meter stretch of wall across the path.
I'm going to turn around to Verm and Pentio, kind of give a shrug and start heading towards where Lothar is.
Lothar will just give it one last, he'll just prod it with his mace, just like, doop, doop.
It feels like a stone wall.
He's just going to shrug and ignore it at that point.
It's just a wall. Why are we standing around gawking? Why don't we just go around it?
Well, I am already around it. What are you not joining me for?
Well, you all seemed overly cautious.
He's just curious. There are strange things in this land.
Did you say something, Pentio?
No. I was saying, well, let's go. Let's go around it.
Right then.
Let's go around.
Cool. You go around and you keep following the path. The forest, over time, you're getting deeper into the forest. It closes in more, it's tighter, and you're grateful for the path. It keeps you moving in terrain which would be very difficult. The light is blocked out at times, and even though it's daytime, it gets very dark in some areas here, and you're really pushing through the thickness of the forest. The end of the day rolls around. People can make their rolls that they make at the end of the day. We'll see how well Pentio sleeps. Well enough, it looks.
Exceptionally well.
Yeah, Verm is finding plenty of things out here in the forest. He is in his zone now. Verm,
He's like a pig in filth.
You make your witch circle, yeah?
Yeah, as I would.
Okay. Could you roll me corruption, please?
Oh, God.
I don't like the sound of that, but I can do it. Let's see.
This is a sign that these pre-rolled vigilance checks may come into play now.
What am I rolling for corruption? A D6? Oh, D4. Sorry, I'm confused.
Whatever it is normally for your... Okay.
Got a 1.
Okay, now I need everybody, all of you, to roll me resolute -5.
Oh, it's this fucking guy again. 55% chance.
Oh!
Nails it.
Okay. All right. And Verm and Surfing. Surfing passes, I assume. Verm fails. Verm and Pentio, you are set upon immediately from enemies, all sides. You can't quite pick what they are, but you are defending yourself. Your weapons are out, and you are doing everything you can to fight for your life as you're set upon. Siofin is confused with what she sees, as she sees Pentio parrying blows from an invisible assailant and slashing to his front, and Verm doing much the same. Lothar, having a moment of absolute clarity, is very much conscious that not only are these guys defending invisible demons, but they're clearly hallucinating, wholeheartedly hallucinating. Not only are they fighting something that's not there, they are fighting something that is not there. Their actions, it seems to be wherever they look, they see something, as opposed to them looking at stuff to see, if that makes sense.
Yep.
And the other, Verm, Pentio, you are absolutely convinced that you are being set upon by whatever horrors and terrors are most particular to your character at this time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So Pentio is now experiencing his nightmare, but for real.
I guess.
Well, wouldn't this be more like a daymare? You know,
so
not a nightmare.
Let's talk that through. What is Pentio seeing in this moment, and what is he doing?
So as they're beset, Pentio sees emerging from off the path, from the darkness of the forest, various abominations and undead. I guess, are they undead? Is that what they are? Like, are there?
There are
zombies?
undead and there are abominations. There are both. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's both like grotesque abominations and undead descending upon the party from either side, and Pentio lets out a shout, draws up his shield and sword and yells for Verm to stand behind him, and Siofin to watch out, it's behind you.
Okay. You guys see all this happening, with the exception of Verm, and all this, yeah, it looks silly. What's Verm seeing in this moment, and what's he doing?
Verm is wildly slashing around with his dagger, and he's yelling to Vilsfin too, like, "Vilsfin, you useless swine, help!" And he's noticing he's not doing anything, and he's swinging around, and like he's rolling on his back, kind of pathetically, like swinging in front of him because he's not very good at hand-to-hand combat. And he sees like the zombified like corpses of his clansmen, covered in boils and the plague that affected them and took their lives, and he sees humans draped in cloth, look like zealots, maybe religious types, carrying torches, and closing in around him and trying to light him aflame. And yeah, that's what he's seeing mostly right now.
Okay, so what do those two fighting their battle? In this moment, what does Siofin and Lothar do?
You're muted. But I would look, and I think Siofin and I would just like look at each other to start with, like, are you sane? And then it's like that, maybe there's that moment like, yes, I am still sane. Like, oh god, another sane person, thank goodness. Yeah. And Lothar's gonna back away to try and create some distance and look at Siofin and say, well, we need a plan to deal with this. They have lost their minds.
Do we need a plan, or should we just let it run its course? They're not hurting each other. They're not hurting themselves.
I don't know. This is
okay. I'm going to stop you there. While this conversation is happening at this moment, Pentio and Verm, around them, all sides, there's this wave of their enemies coming in, and they see Siofin and Lothar standing, seemingly uninterested, not getting involved, and allowing you to fight alone against your enemies. What do you say or do in this moment?
So Pentio doing a sort of a roll, like he dives and rolls under the lumbering arm of some giant grotesque abomination, looks towards Lothar and says, "What are you doing? Help us!" And also, why are they attacking you?
Verm looks toward Chofin and it starts with her.
Chofin, you traitorous wretch, you set us up. Lothar, you ingrate, you zealot, you're part of this. Pentio, we've been tricked, bamboozled. We must fight together. They are no longer with us.
Bamboozled.
In this moment, as the Verm says this, the visions are gone, and the two of you are standing back to back, weapons raised, looking at a quiet and empty Davokar, with your two comrades looking at you bemused.
What is the meaning of this? This is... did something in the air? Oh, I didn't eat anything, did I? The berries, maybe. I would have known a hallucinogenic.
This is what I meant by an absence of faith in Prios.
The wall is a warning, I think.
Regardless of what that is, you call me a traitor one more time, I'll go put an arrow through you.
Well, Chofin,
sometimes
from my perspective, it was different.
Well, sometimes she will put an arrow through you even if you are not traitor. Well, she will try anyway.
Says the man who ended up setting our captain on fire.
This is swings and roundabouts. You call tomato, I call tomato. And you're like, but that's the same thing. So you haven't said anything any different. I think that we should chalk this one up to being on the trail too long.
The mysteries of the forest. We should get going, get out of this area. We do not need that happening again.
I agree. Let's push
whatever
forward.
it was.
So hold on. Are you not going to stay in camp? You're going to keep going overnight?
I think we should go overnight, yeah.
This is sufficiently strange that Lothar would petition to press on for the night.
Yeah. Let's get out of the area. Get a few kilometers away from here at least.
Okay. Right, so you push on, leaving your Witcher circle behind, gathering up your bits and pieces, and you push on. You push into the dark. Could I please have whoever's leading you all roll me a cunning test at -2 because of the dark? I believe that's Pentio.
Let's pass.
Cool. You push on for a while, and you manage to find an area which you think is pretty secure. This is several hours later, closer to, well, actually starting to approach midnight, so very late in the evening. What is your plan here? You're going to set up camp?
I would probably get Verm to see if he would set up his Witch's Circle again, and this time we all kind of try and get some sleep and see if he can put his boar on watch.
Okay, Verm, roll your corruption for your Witch's Circle.
Did I roll it for the last one? I don't remember.
You did.
You got a 1.
You got a 1.
Okay, so I'm not at risk then, I don't think. Yeah, okay.
Well, you say that now.
Would I have had any impression that what happened was a result of me using magic? Or that's what it felt like to me as a player, but I'm not sure if I'd take any impression on that in character.
Would you have done anything to find out as much? Used any abilities or anything? Or?
No, other than like pure superstition or like what I might feel. I don't know, but no,
it certainly seems likely. Once you had the moment where corruption hits you is when the things hit. So it seems like a safe assumption, but you can't know for sure.
Okay. Okay, I'll do the Witch Circle here. Done. 3.
Okay. That's another 3 corruption. Everyone roll me a resolute -5, please.
God damn it.
You should have voiced your concerns.
That's a pass this time.
Woo, that's
This will be where Lothar fails. Yeah, that would be a pass.
That's a fail.
Okay, so the other 2.
Thanks, Verm.
Perhaps because they've gone through this, they are fine. However, what's Siofan seeing that's attacking her from all sides in this moment?
I'll get back to you, and I'll let Lothar go first.
Okay.
Oh,
what's
great,
Lothar
thanks.
saying?
Just drop me. Oh, this is that moment in poker we were like, check. What do we do now? So Lothar, what you probably see is this strange collection of things where out of the forest comes a mass of robed figures, and if we think back to the convoy that got ambushed by the meerkats from a couple of episodes ago, might even be the first episode. They're dressed quite similar to that Twilight Friar we found dead on the road, but instead of that Twilight Friar being in like combat dress, they're more in ceremonial robes, burning with burning weapons and maces and flails and chains and stuff, and they're coming directly towards him in a solemn procession, and Lothar just takes a panicky step backwards. And then behind them you just see like an encroaching darkness spreading out of the forest towards him.
Okay, so that's what he sees. The rest of you just see him looking scared.
Take a big step back.
Take a big step back and pull his mace out. What's the oath?
And I probably actually I would attempt to shape change into, and I do. On the fluff roll, I change into a random looking humanoid. Like my changeling guise is shifted back to just a random Ambrian.
And Siofan?
I feel that I would probably see all the people that I have come across that I have not been able to lend assistance to that ended up in their demise or their misfortune. So bloodied people, kind of going with what one of the others said about pox-ridden corpses of sorts. I guess probably, I haven't really thought too far back, but any village people that I would have come across. Yeah, exactly. That's what's going through my head now. It cannot be unsaid. I see zombie village people.
Yeah, okay. And they're coming at you. They're attacking you. You guys see the other 2. You see what's going on and perhaps have an understanding of what they saw last time. Yeah. Do you do anything while this is happening? Or do you write it out?
So Pencil will shout, Lothar, Siofan, steel yourselves. It's not real.
It is the will of Prios, Lothar. Fight.
Oh, what a cunt!
I mean, this do I hear that? Because that's going to have repercussions, and it's not repercussions Verm's going to like. So, I mean, you could have said a million things. Why'd you say that? Okay. Yeah. Does Lothar hear that?
Roll a vigilance test. You're in combat in your mind, so you know.
And Pentio and Lothar or Verm are yelling at the same time.
So is failing good or bad in this case, Liam?
You don't really, amongst all the whatever it is these witch hunters are yelling at you as they come towards you. Perhaps they're calling you a sinner or whatever. As this all happens, it's up to you whether or not you hear it. It's not a definite you hear it. Put it that way. You hear as much as you want to hear.
I'll leave it to the party. Do you think a fail here is, because here's the thing: if I hear it's bad, so if I pass my vigilance
I don't
test,
think you ought to hear it. I hear him yell something about Prios, but that's it.
Okay. All right. Well, I don't put two and two together, and we don't have a bad thing happen in the middle of this damn adventure.
We don't have PvP on episode 5.
Yep. We don't have PvP.
Okay, so they yell at you, and this carries on. You know, these hallucinations, they take place in less than a minute, but a minute's a long time when you're in this thing. So as quickly as it starts, it snaps out, and you realize you're standing in the dark in the Davokar inside a newly laid witch circle.
Do we, at this point, put two and two together with the fact that he's channeling, in Lothar's opinion, unholy magics? But do we put two and two together and go like, oh, he's casting magic, that's probably the cause, or is there a role involved for that?
I don't think you has no understanding of magic.
Yeah, you can make whatever assumptions you want to make, really.
Well, I think it makes sense for Lothar to be more... I mean, maybe the other members of the party don't because they're not spellcasters or they don't have that. But I think it makes sense for Lothar to put two and two together because there's this whole thing around corruption, right? And casting of magic causing corruption. And Lothar will look at Verm and he'll say, I think that's enough of your unholy spells. They do not like this place.
It is not my spells or my magics that are unholy, Lothar. It is the lands that I cast them upon. Something about this soil is tainted, cursed.
I think you will find that you are exacerbating with your foul magics what is already here.
That is not my responsibility or yours, but I would agree at the very least that we should not cast anything. You and I both included.
I was not being so foolish. Thank you for agreeing with me anyway, and we will talk about this later, perhaps.
Right. I cast judgment.
So,
everyone roll resolute.
You stay in
minus
camp
20.
Do we all stay in camp for the evening?
I think Lothar's a little bit happier knowing that that's... Well, he's convinced that's the reason why. So if we avoid doing that, then we should be fine. And he would say so much to the party.
So make your roll for nightmares. That is your 6th night, by the way, since we started this.
So 4 rations left.
Now, in the morning, you get up. You're still on the path. I'm assuming you continue to follow the path?
Is it some direction noticeably changing, or is it heading in the right direction?
It still seems to be going in the exact direction you need to go, more or less, within 5 degrees. Cool. You set off along the path. Not long into your journey, you left a bit later because you're up later in the night, but sort of around about mid-morning, 10 a.m.-ish, you come across a tree. Now, that is not in and of itself noteworthy within the forest because it's a forest full of trees. What makes this tree different is that it's black, scorched, completely scorched. And the land around it is not. It's like the tree and only the tree went up in some sort of, inferno at some point. It's just off the path. And as you carry on in the direction of the tree, you notice a skeleton tied to the trunk of this blackened tree. Itself blackened. And the skeleton is too small to be that of any man that you've seen before.
I was just about to type that. Oh my god, my flatmate's starting to play drums. I'll be right back.
Would this remind? Is this common if we're burning somebody accused of a witch or anything like that? Or
sure, but normally they build a pyre or they'll do something, normally they do something.
But this looks like it was like man-made. Somebody was responsible for tying this person or child.
Yeah, except for there's no signs of any fuel or anything around the base of the tree. There's no scorching to the surrounding area. It is just the tree has been scorched, as has the child. Well, not necessarily even the child, the body tied to it.
Is there any chance that we might be able to use our I don't know, this is kind of a stretch in terms of ability use, but use our alchemy to sort of determine a fuel, or do we already know that there just isn't? It's just scorching with no.
Roll cunning test if you have alchemy.
Cunning? All right. No.
Yeah, you can't find any obvious fuel source. It just seems as if there was a fire on this tree. Same for Verm. Yeah.
I'd approach the tied up skeleton, and Verm would take a finger out with his long fingernail, kind of press it against the center of its forehead, and run down a little bit to pick up some ash, and just rubs it between his index finger and thumb, and looks at it, trying to just connect spiritually with what happened here. More of a superstitious thing, not any power I'm using, but stands before it and trying to take it in.
Yeah, it's not right. Something doesn't seem right. The fact that the earth around here hasn't been scorched doesn't feel right. The ash here is the standard carbon. It was just a fire. There was nothing special about it. But the fire was incredibly local. The combustion was very much localized to this tree and the body on it.
Go ahead.
I'm going to turn to Lothar and ask him if he has ever seen an elf before.
So I sort of missed if you did anything after the initial description of the scene. So did anyone get
no, they haven't really. Nothing that was relevant to you. They tried to find if there was fuel and there wasn't.
Okay. Have I ever seen an elf before? Is that what you're asking?
Yes, because you are linked to the elves. Through
that's
right. You're a changeling. You are a changeling.
So racist. That's an inappropriate question. That's like no, I'm not even going to say because it'd be inappropriate for me to say what that's like. Lothar just raises
afterwards.
Lothar just raises an eyebrow at you and pretends that he didn't hear. And then he's going to see if he can make any discernible. Can he make anything off the corpse? Like, is there any clothing, charred remnants of clothing? Is there any, because it's just a fire, right? So in Lothar's mind, there is a chance that this is surgery.
Yeah, apart from the burnt and frayed remains of a rope and the tree itself, there is nothing. There's just a skeleton tied to a tree that's been burnt.
And it's a human skeleton.
No, it's far too small to be a human skeleton. It's humanoid.
Far too small.
Could it be a goblin then?
Could be. Doesn't really look like it. It doesn't have the teeth, but could be.
Does Lothar know if? Because how many days away? We still think we're quite a way away from.
We're 4 days away.
Our destination.
You're about half. No, you're 6 days into your journey. How far you are from the destination? Yeah, you're about halfway.
Lothar's puzzled because he thinks that this could be, and he would say as much. He'd say, "Vals, this could be some form of witch burning, perhaps, but we do not seem to be that close to anywhere that would do such things." It's
this
to me.
Could be responsible for what corrupts the lands around here.
And Verm's going to activate his witch sight to see if he can notice any source of. I'm not sure if that works, but I'm going to use that anyway. It says all living things. What's that? I should ask. Did our temporary corruption? Is this a new scene from?
New scene. Yes, new scene.
Okay. Well, in that case, wait. It's not a spell though. It's in a. Fuck it. Verm uses it.
Okay. Roll your corruption. Everyone roll me resolute -5.
Stop doing that.
I'm A-okay.
I applaud this. This is 100% amazing. Oh, I passed.
Fuck.
At -5. Nice.
Yeah, my resolute's 15.
It's just Siofin.
So Sioffin's the only fail.
Yep.
Yeah, Siofin is she's doing her thing. Vim, what you notice in general actually is that all around you there is the taint of corruption upon the land, the earth you stand on, the trees, everything. And in front of you, this burnt tree and the skeleton tied to it is the opposite. It's a complete lack of corruption. There is nothing there to be corrupt. There is no life essence, nothing. It is pure dead matter. Whereas everything around you is showing a taint of corruption. Even the air itself moves with an unnatural movement through your witch sight.
Is this something that I'd have been familiar with? I could connect to something like this is highly unusual, right?
Yeah, just give me one moment. Actually, I'll just double check because I didn't save the thing I should have saved. Yeah, you can shut up. So
It's not like I ever go into sessions with without all the information I need in front of me. It never.
Yeah, I read this yesterday and I forgot. Sorry. So
That's all good, man.
let me just make sure I get this right. Do you... Okay. You perceive that the nature itself here is corrupted. This is unnatural. It is a dangerous place. You've heard rumors of such places. And the air, water, and ground itself is tainted with some form of corruption. The witches have talked about how corruption is residue from a previous empire. Think of it like radiation, right? And where you're standing at the moment, it's like walking through Pripyat outside Chernobyl. You know, you're in a nasty place. You know that there are rituals and things to try and cleanse such areas, but you also know that is beyond your ability at this stage.
Taking a step back from the charred skeleton in the tree, Vern will look over his shoulder toward Lothar first.
This entire region is thoroughly corrupt. The darkness lingers here, clings to the skin and bones. We shouldn't be here. We need to leave at once.
So the bones is the source of this problem?
That's not what I said. I don't know what the source is. I know that they don't appear corrupt themselves, that nor the tree, but the land around us, even in the air, it is palpable. We need to leave.
So does this sound, because this, to me as a player, but to Lothar, does this sound like the purging ritual that Thurgs used to cleanse corruption from the soul?
No, that's pretty brutal. If like, oh, you mean to cleanse the area? Is that what you're asking?
Well,
about?
no, because the one because there's the whole thing where you put yourself on a fire and then you take damage and that clears some corruption from you. This sounds very similar, but instead of the corruption burning away, it seems to have soaked into the terrain. So does like Lothar sort of from his, he might not know how to conduct that ritual, but he would know about that ritual.
Are you asking if the body is the source of the corruption?
Yeah, I'm sort of asking, has it left the body and spread out into the terrain?
No, that wouldn't be your understanding of it. Generally, the idea is the corruption's burnt up.
Yeah. I just wonder if it was like a ritual that's gone really wrong, essentially.
Could be, but not to your understanding of it.
Right. Yes, well, this is the focal point, so it makes sense to leave.
So, do we carry on?
I would not advise taking anything from this scene. that would be foolish in the extreme.
For once we agree, I don't believe.
He was thinking about it.
Who was thinking about
You
it?
guys actually agree quite a lot.
I know. It's great. I love it. We agree. We do that whole thing where you agree, but you can't be seen to agree with one another.
Okay, you push on. Are you still following the path?
We should get off the path, I think. It'll delay us, but it seems safer. We should divert directly west or divert directly east.
Well, do you trust your skills in navigation? Do you feel
No.
up to it?
Would you
That
rather
is-
risk that or risk the corruption of this place?
Well, corruption travels along roads as well as it travels through the forest, so there is not that much difference to whether we are on the path, only the speed at which we leave the area.
I would prefer to leave quickly, but I'd also prefer not to get lost. Pentio.
He eyes your arm. Is it looking like more healed now?
Yeah, the infection's gone down.
If you feel confident enough in your abilities to lead us out of the forest, I will follow you.
I mean, it's not up to me. It's up to the dice. If
Verm
you
gets
guys
it.
feel okay,
Warrior
it is
and
a
not
risk
the-
to leave the path. I'm sorry. Sorry, Charlotte. Go ahead.
As it says the witch to the warrior and not to the ranger who does this for a living.
But if you guys are okay with continuing on the path and don't want to take the risk of getting a little bit lost or turned about, then Pentio wouldn't press. We'd continue on the dangerous path towards oblivion.
Well, the path is leading away from the center of the tree just as well as any random direction would be, right? I'm assuming. Like,
So
I don't know.
So now I'm thinking about it, that you said the wall. How long was the wall at the start when we came? Like maybe it's like a corridor, like along this path of like tainted land.
It's 12 meters wide.
Yeah, so what if we just went 12 meters east or west of the path?
You do that if you
Well,
want.
we
like
can
doing
try
it
it.
well.
We can try it if you want, but we will not be casting magic regardless.
All right, let's stay on the path.
Okay. You move off along the path. Could I please have Theophan roll me vigilance?
And pass.
That's good. You're moving along the path. It's getting towards the end of the day, maybe sort of 2 hours before you'd normally set camp. As you're moving along, Theophan sort of looks off the side of the trail and sees something that sort of stands out amongst the bushes. It stands out because nature is full of random edges, curving trees, rough rocks, and here you see a sort of a square wooden object sticking out of the ground. And on closer inspection, Theophan sees a grave marker, faded greyed wood rising out of the ground, slightly off the path. Looks to be old. Looks like it's been here many years. There is writing in the front of it, though. You'd have to get closer to see what it is.
Get closer to see what it is.
Can Theophan read Ambrian?
Oh, I would assume so.
Okay,
Did
it's
I-
up to you. There's no skill. It's up to you.
Yeah, I mean, she's versed in trading with Ambrians and the barbarian tribes alike, so
So Theophan wanders off the path to go read this thing, and doing so draws all your attention to this grave marker. What is everyone else doing as she moves forward to read it?
Lothar's
Stay far,
going to
far
say,
away, that's what happened.
Lothar's going to say, there lies curiosity, playing stupid games, winning stupid prizes.
What's Verm doing?
Verm, Shofin has no history of desecrating graves, does she?
That's a good question. Do you have a history of desecrating graves?
No, he would
Oh,
stand
no,
back.
no.
That's what he's thinking about. As long as he doesn't think she's going to desecrate, he doesn't care. He stands back though.
And what's Pentio doing?
Pentio will stay on the path and just be like, Shofin, what are you doing?
Okay. Shofin, as he says that, you read the gravestone. Well, it's a grave marker. It's wood. Carved into the wood neatly are the words Pentio Ambrosia, Knight.
Whatever you do, don't read it out loud.
You're not allowed to say that, mate. She can choose. Devil on one shoulder, angel on the other. Say it out loud. Say it out loud.
I kind of lean into it a little bit closer, look at it, making sure that what I am reading is actually what it says. Try and brush off any dirt to see if that changes things, because I'm thoroughly confused at this point. I look back at Pentio, kind of give him a little bit of a weird look, and wave him over.
Nope.
Excellent. Excellent.
Nope.
I'm like, oh no, but this is great. Do it.
So Pentio's waved over.
And he says, nope. We have to get out of here. Why are we lingering? Let's go. Double time.
Is that what he says?
Yeah. He's like, why are we lingering?
As he says this, you're very conscious that you're reading his name upon this grave marker.
Yeah, it's like, this is your name.
Nope.
You.
Ah. Common name.
Ambrosia is not a common name in the Ambria. I would know. I had to do this. No, it's
Totally an Italian name.
What? Why are you lying about this? This is. Wait, you said it was his name? Does it have a date of death, as is common in Ambrian culture?
No, it doesn't.
No,
The grave marker looks very old.
yeah, this thing is older than the hills itself, it seems, and it says plain right here.
Nope.
Lothar's gonna go up and see for himself.
It's a trick. It's the forest.
It clearly says Pentio Ambrosia Knight.
Well, this is the first clue. It says he is a knight.
There's
He is
also
a
a
hedge knight, though.
there is a symbol on it, although you guys don't recognize it.
What's the symbol look like?
Are you going to go over and look at it?
No, I'm not. So
Lothar would.
I asked.
Lothar would commit to memory.
Okay,
of
then.
this gravestone.
If we wish to describe what the symbol looks like to your fellow players who are looking at it, could you please describe Pentio's family crest?
It's the sign of a giant dildo.
I don't think I had predetermined it. Let's say it's basically like an Ionian column with a shield on the front.
Okay. Would we be familiar like, does he wear anything that has his family crest on it?
Yeah, his shield has it on it. You'd be very familiar with his family crest.
There you go.
This is even your crest. Well, perhaps we will dig up this grave and find your bones under it.
I look back at him again. I see that he is, I'm assuming he's looking a little bit agitated.
Well, Pentio is now perplexed, and he walks over to investigate alongside you.
Make a resolute check.
As he does that, I stand up.
Walking over my grave, which you all know is a terrible idea.
No, you walk over and you see exactly what's been described. A grave marker, Pentio Ambrosia, underneath Knight, and then your family crest.
This is the hallucination. It is a trick. We're all being affected.
Well, there's
Well,
probably more graves for each of us further along this path.
Not with everything that we've seen, I think we should probably start to get out of here. This is creepy.
Mm-hmm.
This is a war.
It says your name right there with your crest. You don't have a ancestor of the same name?
Not that I'm aware of. I'm unaware of any such person.
Are there any such superstitions of people that are undead appearing human and like walking among us?
Oh yeah,
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 well,
definitely.
There was like a whole. Let's just say the whole reason this region is now colonized. Well, apart from the Davokar, is
Yeah.
for that. For that.
And actually, the Twilight Thistle that you're going to look for, one of its rumored abilities is that if you are undead or very close to dead or heavily corrupted, and you drink this Twilight tincture, it disguises the fact that you are dead or the fact that you are corrupt.
Do all undead carry corruption? When I used my witch sight, did I see any corruption in Pentio? I guess it's...
No, you did not. Undead are normally thoroughly corrupt. There is normally nothing but corruption. They're just black
I'm an angel.
shadows.
Okay. Right, we'll use that for now.
Well, if you die, you can come back as my patron saint.
All right, great.
There you go.
Well, it would be best to get out of here, but going this way or that way would lead to the same destination. A forest can only be, unless you want to go back, but we don't have the rations for that.
Are we heading in the general direction of the town?
Yes.
Upon seeing his grave, Pencho is more insistent about heading west and putting distance between us and this cursed path. It could all be a trick. We may be on a treadmill to nowhere. I don't know how to phrase that in character.
We've been several days traveling now, right? Like it's been
Yep.
Okay.
You're on day 6.
So at this point, Lothar will say, "Val, we could always start heading back towards the river." That is as good a
Pencho is
path as
now
any.
insistent about it. He wants to head west and then navigate based off the river.
The river at this
the
point would be more
difficulty.
north.
Oh, north. Sorry.
Yeah. So you want to head north now.
Yeah, Pencho is insistent about it.
You're going to do anything at the gravesite?
Lothar will.
Is there like a Prios prayer that would be common, or
Lothar's
like
going to
a
do a
warrior,
prayer,
or like a
prayer to the dead. You know,
I'm not dead yet.
casting. No, but like the whole thing you do where you're trying to show respect for the dead through the deeds of the living, and that perhaps through the toil of life you can bring honor to those that have fallen before you in your family's honor or whatever. Maybe price or something along those lines. Because on the off chance it's just some really old relative that for some reason has ended up in the Davokar, which Lothar doesn't believe it to be. But
It was
there's
also a knight.
there's observances to be had that Lothar will follow.
Okay.
Probably sprinkle some holy water around or something. Let's just say there's some holy flammable oils.
Okay. So you head off and you sort of make your way north. And a short time later, you find a spot where you can set up camp. Are you doing a witch circle?
Just to be safe? Nah. I advise
Am I
against
doing
it.
a witch circle? I'm not doing it. No.
It's like, yes,
Okay.
Liam. Yes. I'm sure the fourth time repeating the same thing will lead to different results.
That night, can we have Pentio roll for nightmares? I'm going to make your resolute slightly low. Doesn't matter. Your nightmares kick in for obvious reasons, I think.
Yeah.
Pentio's having a rough week. He's having a really rough week.
It's Tuesday. It's totally normal. He's used to this, really.
But you set up camp and you get through the night. Now, you left the path the night before, and you left it behind you. You moved north several hours. You set up camp. When you all get up, as the mist clinging to the ground clears, you notice you are standing upon a path much like the old one, this time heading north, the direction you wish to go.
The veneer of my sanity is crumbling.
Is it?
Fuck this, Pat.
Yeah.
Told you.
Is it still? Has it been? Is it still foggy? Like, what's the weather like today?
The mist is clearing up. It is getting a bit overcast up above.
Have we been seeing much like life, flora, fauna? Like, has it changed much since we've been on this path?
Not particularly. Apart from the dead guy tied to the tree.
Yeah. Lothar's looking very perplexed. Like looking left down the path, looking right up the path. He's looking at the sun, going, "This is heading north." Whereas before it was heading,
by the way.
Yeah, that was a
What?
20. The alchemy rolls.
We didn't
Okay.
set up a circle though, so you don't get 2 rolls, do you?
No,
No,
we
these
roll
are
once in the morning, I think.
Oh, okay.
So you're picking herbs, and as you reach down, you hear the hiss of a snake. Too late, and the snake jumps out and bites you. It causes you 2 wounds, but more worryingly, it causes you corruption. Now, how far away are you from everyone else?
I mean, I wouldn't wander too far, but far enough to actually forage a bit. So I don't know. It could be up to, 200 feet, 300. I don't know how far is reasonable, but
You roll resolute -5. Everyone else roll resolute.
Oh,
Does anyone-
hold on.
There we go. So Seophin starts having her visions, and you guys have seen Seophin do this a couple times now, so you know that something's gone on. Verm didn't fail, did he?
no.
No. So, yeah, Verm, by the way, you take D4 corruption, temporary. Everyone else is just sitting there, and then seemingly unrelated to any magic or anything going on, you notice Seophin start having these visions. She reaches for her blade, and she starts defending herself.
Lothar just looks around to see where Verm is because he knows he didn't cast anything. And his hand sort of goes to his mace because, there's the off chance that this is hostile spell casting.
Also, Yog, you'll have the same downsides that Plague had for a few days. So, picking any fine motor functions with your hand are at disadvantage.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah, she gives up her fits. It takes Verm a while to return. He's out just collecting stuff. I'm assuming this with a sore hand. But yeah, he comes back none the wiser as to what's been going on, and you guys are in camp. I imagine a wee bit nervous, having been thinking you're being attacked or something.
Well, Schoffen had another of these episodes that seems to happen when magic happens. Did you do anything? And then I'm guessing his hand's like swollen or it's wrapped up or something, right?
He is clutching. He's like clutching at his forearm tightly with the other hand, and he looks down to it and lifts it up to you.
I've cast nothing of the sort. I got bit by a fucking snake, is what happened.
Holding it up to
And
your face.
was there any repercussion from this bite? You know how things are in these woods.
What do you mean?
Smallest thing. Well, the wildlife, it can leave a mark on the person.
Why are you asking? Did you not see it in my hand?
No,
Look
no, not
closer.
that kind of. The other kind. The other kind of mark.
Corruption.
Yeah.
I don't feel any different. It's fine. Nothing for you to worry about.
Yeah, Lothar's skeptical. The witch going off into the woods, coming back with this with like a snake bite, and being like, "Nah, nothing happened. Everything's fine." It's like,
All right. So, coming to that impasse, do you carry on?
What do we do? How do we escape this curse?
well, if we come across another grave, or if we come across another tree with a body under it, or perhaps we come across another wall. But until this path takes us somewhere else, where is there to go but on the path? It seems to be finding us as much as we are finding it.
I don't care what we have to do. I'm getting really tired of seeing all this shit.
The spirits will guide us where we need to go. Perhaps they are trying to speak to us. There is something for us to do here. Work undone. It won't let us free until we see through it.
So, what do you do?
We keep following the path. I think that sounds like
Go onward, I suppose.
Okay.
onward
So, you-
to adventure and death.
To do.
Siofin, roll me your vigilance test, please. You guys push along the path. The terrain here is thick. Again, with the overcast, it's very dark. It's almost as if you're walking in twilight. The whole way, you sort of, you at times have to duck below trees. You have to step over gnarled roots. But the path seems to take you through the most secure way through this, now headed more northerly towards the river. As you head in that direction, Siofin hears the growling of dogs in the distance. The growling they make when they're chewing on something. Their mouths are clearly clamped onto something and they're growling. You hear growling of several dogs.
I slow down a little bit, get them to kind of stop just to make sure I can hear what's going on. At this point in time, I cannot completely trust what I'm hearing because we keep getting fucked over every time we stop and see something different. I am going to ask the other three if they hear what I hear. So I hear dogs off in the distance. They sound like they are chewing on something. There's something in their mouths. Do you guys hear this? I think I'll be a little bit quieter about it as to not draw attention, but...
As you all listen, you can hear it, yes. Also, you notice that the wind seems to shift in this moment, coming from behind you, whereas previously it was going across. And you can smell the unmistakable stink of a stink that you're very familiar with, a meerkat.
Hey Liam, can you be a little bit? You've got a whole monster codex, Can you or is this the whole thing where you're like, oh, they've already fought a meerkat, so they know how tough they are. So if I throw something that killed a meerkat at them, they'll know that this is serious business.
No, the meerkat smells like it's coming from behind you. The dogs sound like they're ahead of you.
Okay.
Do we see anything behind us?
Roll vigilance.
I feel like there's that moment where the entire party smells it and turns and looks.
Yeah.
I'll roll as well.
It's just the stench. It's the stench that you remember from the den. You smell it, and you can hear the growling of dogs up ahead. You hear the bark that a dog makes when it snaps at something.
And that's up ahead, like on the path kind of direction?
Seemingly, yeah.
Well, perhaps this is what we are meant to find.
No, I think this is another trick because the wind is now at our back coming to us. We shouldn't be able to hear too much ahead of us. The wind would take it away.
That's not the how sound works.
Partially.
Pentio draws his sword and readies his shield.
It'd be better to be prepared. To assume it's a trick.
The Verm takes like a animal-like stance. His slender form gets lower, and he holds his dagger out to the side. It's very crouched, like it's his combat stance. But he's on the ready for something.
And unfortunately, there's no magic for this. And Lothar will take
So what do you do?
Shield and his
Do you guys move forward? Do you stand here? What are you doing?
I was going to go forward carefully.
Yes.
Deliberately, but carefully.
Are you trying to sneak up, or are you more being worried about your defense?
Lothar's going to try and sneak up.
I'd slowly move forward. She's on his only way.
I'm going to take the head of the group again. I'll have my bow out. I'll have it ready to go. I will motion somehow to Petio to take at the rear to cover our back, and then I'll put the two squishies in the middle.
Okay. I'll have Siofan roll me discreet as you move forward.
So I got 11, and I failed.
Okay. You move up, and as you sort of go over a rise and terrain, on the path ahead of you, no cover between you and them, you see 3 wild dogs chewing at some fresh kill on the ground. You're not sure what the kill is, because it's a bit far away. There's viscera everywhere, and it's steaming in the cold air. As you do, they look up and see you and instantly flee. They don't stay. They don't try and fight. They abandon their kill and leave you there on the path, standing ready for a fight with some carcass up ahead of you on the path.
And they scramble.
Say again, sorry?
They scramble at a decent pace. Okay. Then I want to continue moving up cautiously towards the corpse.
Okay. Yeah, you hear the dogs barking as they run off into the distance. You know, if you've ever seen dogs scatter when you catch them doing something they're not supposed to do, right? That's what you've done. They're scavenging and they flee. As you come forward, you can see what they were eating. It's an elk, a large elk, recently killed, still warm, judging by the steam coming from its innards. What worries you is that its skin and fur appears to be completely translucent. Just a clear skin over innards as it lies dead in the middle of the path. Its lifeless eyes staring through its closed but clear lids at the sky.
What are your
very puzzled?
Sorry, all at once. What was that? Sorry, Ryan.
Can I attempt a beast lore check to see if this is anything I've ever heard of or encountered before?
Sure. Roll cunning.
Yes.
No.
Nope. I will take note of it later.
Everyone else?
Lozar's just going to look at it very puzzled and then look at the people that are supposed to know these things and say, well, what is this?
I guess I have beast lore as well, don't I?
Yeah, roll cunning if you like.
If you like.
Oh
no!
You're convinced that this is just standard elk. This is just maybe a slight mutation. You've heard that this sort of thing is safe. You're very conscious of the fact you only have 3 days food left, and you're looking at an awful good meat.
Yeah, I was just going to say. So I think we should get a packs full of meat for the next 2 days in case we can't get to the town on time.
You have lost your damn mind.
Oh, come on, it's perfectly good. Just cover on the dog spots.
I bet Verm wouldn't even eat this, and I've seen him eat some weird things.
I'll admit I was thinking about no, I wouldn't eat that.
See?
Take the skin off it. You have no...
Nope.
Well, you can go first, then. I see this one says no, and that one who will eat pig shit will say no, so I will say no too.
I am
Thank
going
you
to
very much.
I'm going to give it a pure pressure and not dig into this thing.
Though if we could sell this at the nearest town.
Do you want to pack this around? There's a lot of meat here. If we're not going to have it, I think we should burn it.
Yeah.
I don't want to have animals gathering behind us as we walk away.
So it has no skin, right?
It has skin.
It has no pelt, I guess is what I'm saying.
No, not really.
And what about its does it have any? It's an elk. Elks have antlers, right? I'm thinking correctly.
It's got antlers.
Are they translucent?
No, they're normal. The same color as the rest of the rest of it is normal. It's just the exterior which is not right. The skin. You can see the innards. You can see everything.
Well, we can always take the antlers and sell them. But I suppose, yeah, burning it's fine. There's always good to be had from burning these things.
The antlers probably wouldn't get us much unless Verm wants to use them for something.
I would prefer not to desecrate the corpse of this creature any further. The corruption here has already claimed it. I don't think we should meddle with such affairs.
That's interesting. I have not met someone who, I have never seen you pass up the opportunity to desecrate a corpse.
It depends on the nature of the corpse. There are forces greater than I that already lay stake to things unnatural.
So you would not even want to burn it in the cleansing light of Bryos?
That is not my belief, but it's yours. If you wish to do so, then do it. I'll have no part in it.
Though fires do attract attention. I think seeing as this is not a person, then exceptions can be made. Even though, as you say, this very strange, Okay, we go. And once again, I guess the party continues its tradition of stumbling across things and slowly backing away.
How far away from the river were we? Like, when would we expect to actually make it to the river?
A couple of days, maybe. It's one of those things where, because you got dropped off with the river was going in one direction and it curved the other, and then on top of that, you got lost. So you're not 100% sure, but you know you can't be too far. But the river was going in one direction while you were going in a different one. So you would reach it eventually. It's one of those things, as long as you head north, you will reach it. It's just, you might not reach, you'll probably reach it before you run out of rations, you just probably won't reach the town before you do it at this rate.
Okay.
So, you carry along the path?
Yeah.
After some time, you move on. The forest continues to sort of close in. And you start moving through some rolling sort of hills within the forest. So you find yourself climbing at times, climbing downwards at other times, and the going sort of slows down a bit, and it's a bit harder. You will notice at one point that you'll gain the sharp taste of metal in your mouth. When you bite onto tin foil with fillings, that sort of taste, you get a bit of that at one point, but you sort of carry on and push through it to the point where you no longer notice it. Towards the end of the day, you are making your way up a slope where the forest sort of stops, and ahead of you is a clearing, in the clearing of which is a mound. Around the mound, this is towards the end of the day when you're thinking about setting up camp, by the way, around the mound are standing stones, old, covered in lichen, weather-worn, with indecipherable carvings and symbols all over them, circling a hill, the hill of which appears to be completely bald of anything but grass, minus a sapling that seems to be growing at the top.
This looks distinctly barbarian.
does it though? Is anything about it familiar?
It looks very old. You are aware that there are such things in the forest around, but this does look very, very, very old.
Mm.
Yeah, we're far enough in that the clans really wouldn't be in this area anymore, would they?
Yes and no. There's certainly clans around, but you'd assume a clan would be well clear of a corrupted patch of the forest like this. And saying that, who knows how long it's been corrupted? These stones certainly predated it.
I'm going to keep on walking. I'm just going to take a look at them, look, and keep on walking.
The path goes into the circle.
Ah, shit. I'm going to keep on walking.
Into the circle?
Off the path.
I want to go
You're
around.
going to keep walking off the path, or are you going to keep walking along the path?
Yes.
Oh my god. Take a left or right.
Pentio.
Yes.
Pentio sees that the path leads into the circle and steps off the path to go around said circle. He's not stepping to this confounded circle.
I hear the shift of his footfall from dirt to grass, and take note of it, look back, and see that he's moving off, and figure he's probably got the right idea, so I start to follow him.
Verm's going to go.
What Verm does, weirdly enough.
Verm's going to go into the circle.
Okay. Verm steps into the circle, and at first he notices a distinct lack of anything unusual. He steps in, and it feels like everything's fine. As he takes a few more paces, he becomes aware that the sounds of the forest and all the life within it has become muted, as if far away. And then the smell of the meerkat, which has been sort of sitting in the back of your throat all day, it seems to be gone. The taste of tin in your mouth seems to be gone, and everything feels to be oddly at peace. Even the breeze appears to have stopped.
Does this feel like a witch circle to me? Somebody else's creation?
I mean, it could be. It's a lot bigger than any witch circle you've seen.
Okay.
But it definitely feels like a different place than the forest you just stepped out of. It's very calm. It's very peaceful.
And at the center of it is a mound with a sapling on top of it?
Yes.
I'd approach that sapling on top of the mound and just run a finger along one of its leaves or along its bark or whatever might be on it, just to try to connect with the environment.
Yeah, it's as you go deeper in, it gets more and more quiet. The forest sort of steps away. You're on an exposed hillock at this point, and you should be getting hit by the wind, which wasn't a strong wind, but you definitely notice it when you're standing on top of an exposed hill. Nothing. Peace. The sapling feels like any young sapling you've encountered before.
And Lothar's followed me in.
Yeah, Lothar's experiencing all the same. Yeah.
I took your lead, mate.
This is unusual. I don't understand this, but it resembles something that I'm familiar with in some form through my own circle, but this is something different, but I can't put my finger on what. But I feel at peace here. Perhaps there is something here that will clue us into what's happened to the forest around it, if we were to look around.
Yeah, this is your world. I think if you think there may be a clue here, then I will do my best to uncover it.
How far away is Shofin and Pentio outside of the circle? Like, how big is the circle, I guess?
It's fairly large, sort of close to 100 meters across. It's quite big.
Oh, I do worry for them. They may have found themselves on the wrong path that they think to be safer, but I don't think so at all. But their fate is their own. Why don't you help me look around? They'll find us, I'm sure. Or the path will again.
It seems that this could be the nexus. What the path is trying to lead us to, but this forest is full of these kind of tricks. Regardless, this could be worth exploring.
So I guess we just have a look around, see what we can find.
You doing anything in particular when you look around?
Getting physical.
There's no real. Yeah, there's no real like buildings. It's just standing stones and saplings in a mound, right? There's no like.
It's a clear mound. You can see everything. There's nothing I've noticed. The only way you could potentially see more is if you use Witch Sight.
I don't currently corruption, do I? Or that's
no, you're
bite.
free of temporary corruption. But the snake bite is one off the corruption. It's just
thoughts crossing Lothar that if all the usual effects of the forest are clear, then perhaps the same taint doesn't seem to be lying on this ground, and so perhaps you'd mentioned to them, well, it could be worth seeing if there is a lack of the same pushback on the magic as there is outside the forest.
Well, so far the side effects haven't been too gruesome, so there's not much harm in trying.
And with that, he will use Witch Sight.
Okay. Roll your temporary corruption. Okay. When you do that, the corruption feels barely there. You do take your 1 point, but it's almost, you don't have the surging negative feeling that you normally associate with this sort of thing. As you look around, everything inside this circle is as pure as a newborn. There is no corruption at all. Now, because you're on top of this hillock, you can actually see across the tops of the trees for a bit of a distance in every direction. Not well, you're sort of like level with the trees, but you just see a rolling sea of corrupted trees and forest in all directions. But you appear to be an island of calm.
Well, Lothar, it appears this land is consecrated. There is something protecting it from the corruption around, but I can't sense what. Perhaps it could be the sapling there planted before us.
Yes, but consecrated to what and to what end? If we can find a way to tap into such a force to see us clear of this place, then all well and good. But if we cannot, then it is simply an oasis. It is a calm in the storm.
Yeah, Verm contemplates, but can't. He thinks to a certain ritual that he doesn't have that could be helpful, but considers that, but he doesn't have. It's like he looks around from off the top of the hill to see if he can see where Chofin and Pentio have gotten to.
He can see them.
Pentio wouldn't have left. He wouldn't have left line of sight.
They're down the hill. Now, you guys down the hill can see them conversing. You can't hear them. They sound distant, and possibly so, up on the hill.
Well, we could always go and collect our friends.
Pentio will go. After waiting this time, we'll just like get impatient and walk into the circle.
You probably see Lothar wave you like just.
You all experience the same thing: peace, rest. It's calming. It is like a spiritual experience in a way. Walking in here and experiencing this, it's truly peaceful in a way that you haven't felt in a long time, considering all the stress you've had between the going into the Davokar and going after the meerkats, Vern being chased at a caster, your ambush on the boat. This is the most at peace you've felt in a very long time.
What time of day is it right now?
Nearing dusk.
So I make the suggestion that this looks like a pretty safe spot to camp out for the night. We have good lines of sight. Better than camping in the forest again.
Yeah. This is true.
The corruption can't reach us yet, at the very least.
Perhaps poor Pentio will have a good full night's sleep for once. Stop waking us in the middle of the night with his ramblings.
So you set camp. You won't be able to collect any alchemical stuff unless you leave the circle, because there's nothing growing in here apart from the sapling and the grass. Everything is peaceful, everything's fine. Pentio, when you roll for your nightmares, you can roll twice and pick the best result, because it is truly relaxing. And you all awake feeling very refreshed. You're also very conscious of the fact that you've got only 2 days food left.
I do want to go down the morning investigating the standing stones and the saplings to see if there's anything I can glean from them.
The sapling is just a sapling. It looks like it'll grow into be an oak. Potentially. You're not sure, but it seems to be likely to be an oak of some type. Looks familiar. The rocks have carvings on them that you've not seen before. They don't associate with any barbarian writing you're aware of. They could be Symbaroum in origin, but you're not sure. Whatever they are, they're indecipherable to you.
Do I know from if the oak has any significance in certain religious circles? I do not.
No.
Can't even roll on the off chance. Okay.
As you guys make your way,
the wrong set.
as you guys go to make your way out of the circle, the path is almost as if it's waiting for you there at the edge as you reach it.
Why, hello, old friend. We meet again.
As you step through the circle, the sudden rush of noise is almost like a waterfall. You hear the forest come back to you. Smells come back to you. That smell of meerkat returns. The taste of tin in the back of your throat returns. You're very conscious of your surroundings once again. And apart from feeling more refreshed, you feel like you've walked back exactly where you were the evening earlier. Do you carry on along the path?
Yeah.
Of course.
It's still heading north, right? It's still heading towards the river.
Yeah. So you head north. The land quickly sort of starts to drop, and before you know it, you're picking a path through wetlands. The trees here are more twisted. They tend to hang over ponds and pools, and around the smell and stench of decay of these stagnant ponds rises all around you. The path more or less keeps you dry, though occasionally it dips through pools and along sort of small sort of ditches full of watering things. At one point off the path, you can see a pool of sludge and muck, out of which you can see what you all recognize to be a dragul, which is effectively an old zombie, an old sort of mummified zombie trying to claw its way out of aimlessly. Just trying to pull its way out, moaning at the air around it, but having no luck dislodging itself from the muck here in the swamp. Do you do anything about that? You're muted.
A zombie, Just a casual zombie climbing out of the muck.
Trying to, failing.
Oh god. Okay. Well, on instinct, Lothar's going to cast Witch Hammer on his hammer. Just
Are you?
out of instinct. Yeah.
Roll
It's
temporary corruption. Roll temporary corruption.
I don't. It should be just one.
Okay.
Unless there's
as you cast, you get the sharp, that taste of tin in your mouth enhances to the point where it overtakes your olfactory senses, and you actually take 2 corruption. It's double. And your mace flares up. Everybody roll resolute -5 as the corruption surges out of this mace and overwhelms anyone who fails with their hallucinations. Lothar, is that a pass?
That's a pass. I needed 10.
Okay. The Draggle reaches for you, its mouth hanging down. Its mouth hanging down. Lazily.
Right. Like, I was just trying to smite. I was trying to smite the damn thing. Just like, whoop.
It's not hard. It's reaching for you, but it's stuck in the mud. You just start raining blows down on it, and soon you crush its head in. As it does, and it falls back into the mud, you can see the mud is broiling as if other stuff is in there, but you'd have to dig in through the mud to find it.
Come on, Lothar, go dig in.
I think we should stay out of this muck.
Okay.
It may come to try and claim us. And also, sorry for the breaking the rule. It's sort of instinct when I see those kinds of things. I apologize.
Well, don't apologize to me, he says, looking over towards Chofin. Besides, it's better to put the dead to rest.
Yeah, well, we
carry
could
on?
have done that without this.
Okay, I'd carry on now.
Okay,
Yeah.
the path carries on north, and soon you're running next to like a small river. This isn't the river you're aiming for; it's a river that clearly breaks off it, and the path carries along its bank, across which you'd have to cross to get to Malima, where you're going. As you're walking, at one point, its Verm has to make a double take as you look over at the river, which has been flowing towards you the whole way, and then the river seemingly is now flowing in the same direction as you're walking, against all laws of nature. It shouldn't make sense. This doesn't make sense. Does Verm point this out to anyone?
No.
Okay.
No, he doesn't.
No one else, unless they're looking for it, notices it. It's up to you guys if you do. But after a while, the river switches back. It's, as if there's a patch of river 300 meters long flowing in the wrong direction against all laws of nature. But otherwise, all is fine.
Hold on. Once it switches back, as soon as we cross that threshold of it switching, the Verm would stop for a second and make, wait. He'd put his hand up, and then he'd want to go back a couple of feet and see if he notices it switch again.
Oh, no, what I mean is there's just a period of 300 meters where the river is going in the wrong direction. Even once it's switched back, you can look.
Okay.
You can observe it flowing in both directions, if that makes sense. There's a point.
He would stop anyway. Once it gets to the end of it, he'd point it out. And
Maybe there is something to do with if there is some sort of illusion over this land through the corruption. Perhaps there is an area less affected here.
pointing toward it.
What he points out to you guys, you're all aware, is against the laws of nature. The river should not flow against its own flow for 300 meters.
I think I have seen enough of this place.
I am in agreement. Let's get moving.
Well,
Okay.
fine.
You push along, and ahead, you notice a oak, mostly dead. It's not an oak, sorry, a willow. The ones that sort of hang, they're willow trees, right? Yeah, leaning over the river up ahead, around it, seeming to be on firmer ground. Siofin, having the highest vigilance, would notice that amongst its roots, is a shining golden object sort of sitting there, as on the seemingly firm patch of earth, this willow rises out of the bog.
Okay, so there's something golden shiny
Mm-hmm.
in a.
Yeah,
Fame and
Extra.
fortune. Fame and fortune.
Go for it. It's shiny.
So sorry. What's everyone doing?
So do we all see it, or is this Chopin the only one who sees it?
Siobhan would have probably when she sees it, the rest of you would probably notice.
And Chopin's going for it?
I'm starting to move closer to it.
No, don't. Wait. This is just another trick, a curse of the forest. The ill-advised.
Is anyone else following Chopin at the moment?
I'm standing next to
No.
Pentio. Yells, but not helping yell. I'm just watching.
Okay.
Yeah, Lothar's just watching as well. He's like,
Chopin.
well, this is what I said when we found the grave. Here lies curiosity.
At this,
So
at
as you
this
move
point,
forward-
it's so,
No. You said you're doing it.
I'm just saying that at this point, with all of the attacks that I've had, it's just mentally drained. Just the resistance isn't there anymore. I'm going to go check it out, see what it is.
Okay.
It's shiny, it's
Awesome.
gold. It could be treasure.
Chopin moves forward. The rest of you stop and you observe. Those of you observing notice that the branches are swaying in the wind, and it takes a moment, and unfortunately it's too late a moment, to notice that they're swaying in the wrong direction. They're moving in a way that they shouldn't, as if there is life to them. And everything that happens in this exact moment happens instantly for those of you who are watching. Those of you, apart from Siofin, notice the tree's branches, its hanging willow branches whip around towards Siofin, and its roots launch up out of the ground, forming a wall between you and Siofin. The roots have vines of thorns wrapping all around them, and this is not a complete wall. You can get around it, but it would take several movement actions to do so, and to try and go through the wall would be dangerous given the spikes. What Siofin sees is she hears this wall come up behind her, and in front of her, branches reach out and attack her from ambush twice. So, first round of combat, you've been ambushed by long weapons, so they get to go first in the first round. I need you to please roll me a defense -1.
The fuck off.
Jeez.
I need you to roll me armor.
What the hell is my armor right now? One D4.
Okay, roll that.
I think it's a 3.
I didn't see the roll. You want to drop it again on the 3? Okay. Yeah, cool. You take 6 points of damage as this branch grabs you and its thorns dig into you. At this point, you notice
That's
the branch
past
is
your pain threshold, right?
It is. The branch is trying to wrap around you. I need you to roll a quick test at -1 to avoid being grabbed by this thing. But you avoid it. You manage to hold. Not only do you avoid that, you avoid the second attack. But it is past your pain threshold. What do? Do you fall over, or do you stay standing? Actually, because you rolled a 1, we'll ignore that. You can stay standing. You manage to keep on your feet after this branch tears you apart with its thorns. It's in a bad way. You hear Siofin involuntarily yell out in pain on the other side of the wall, and we now go into initiative order at this point. So Siofin, you are first. Behind you is a wall of roiling branches. You can try and get away, but you will be prone to attack. The others are several movement actions away.
Ah, shit. Is there anything I can shoot?
You can shoot the tree.
Yeah, that's probably not going to work out too well. Oh, actually, I'm going to coat one of my arrows. Well, I'm going to use my tincture, my fire tincture. And shit, that's going to be like an extra action, is it?
It'll be a movement action.
But then lighting it on fire.
They don't actually light on fire. It's magical
essence. Light them on fire. It's just like acid.
It's a gel that burns.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So you don't need to shoot it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to light my arrow or use the tincture, light my arrow on fire, and shoot it in stupid's face.
You shoot. It's +7 to hit. So I think for you that's anything but a 20.
20.
Yeah. Shut up.
Shoot yourself. She rolls a 20, shoots Lothar.
Somehow.
Okay, so on my screen I rolled 19, but it's not registering my dice rolls or something.
You gotta drop it right in the middle. Okay, that's still a hit. So roll your damage. Obviously it has bark, but so the bark can definitely stop a fair chunk of damage. The tree is moving in a way that doesn't seem right. It's and also for the tincture, I think it's another D4.
Yep.
Okay, so 5 plus 1.
Yeah, the arrow hits. You can't tell if you've done any damage. The bark seems to have eaten most of this arrow, and that is your turn. Pentio, you've seen this wall go up. You can tell by the movement beyond the wall of the branches something isn't right. To get around the wall, you're looking at 2 movement actions. To get around so it can't reach out and grapple you with its vines, you're looking at 3.
I'm going to risk the 2 movement actions.
Okay.
Relying upon my chosen stat.
Right, as you run around, I need you to roll quick -1 as you go around the edge of this wall, as these branches reach out and swing at you. Is that a pass? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. And you manage to avoid these branches that are flaming at you with like thorns on them, and you're now around the wall, around the edge of the wall, facing this willow, which you're seeing reach out towards Siofin. And next we have Verm and Vildsvin.
Verm and Vildsvin are going to go around. They're going to use all their movement to try to go around. They're not going to run through.
Okay. So you spend two movements moving around. There'll be one more to get around it completely. That's fine. And that's the same for Vildsvin. And next we have Lothar.
So I'm thinking for the purposes of this, I've still got my Witch's Hammer. And I'm still got that 2 corruption. This isn't an entirely new scene.
Yeah, I'll allow it. All right.
Okay. Well, regardless, because it just matters if he's going to cast anything this turn or not. So he's also cautious because he doesn't have his blessed shield at the ready, and he doesn't want to do that much more magic than he has to. So he's going to use all his movement to go around without taking hits.
Okay. So both you, Vildsvin, and Verm will be around next round, which will get you around the wall, and then there's a movement action to engage. So only Pentio will be able to engage it next round. And then the tree, yet again, attacks. This time, it's dividing up its branches between Pentio and Siofin, because its branches count as long. It has a better attack around it. So first things first, we might as well do Pentio, so we can delay the death of Siofin. Pentio, roll defense -1 as these branches reach out for you.
No problem. I do a duck and roll.
This branch just shoots out towards you, and you duck and roll below it like it's nothing. Siofin, same thing, defense -1. The branch that hit you before comes swinging at you again. The branches were bare before, not alive, showing almost as if the tree was dead. And where it hits you and where your blood covers it, you can see these bulbous red leaves growing as this thing hits you again. Roll your armor. You take 7 points of damage.
I'm dead.
Are you? You're down? Okay.
I have 10 toughness, so.
You're
6 plus
down.
7.
All right.
Dead.
Yeah.
Down. This thing wraps you up in one of its branches, the one that just hit you, and pulls you in towards it. Pentio will know, is the only one here to see this, see spine sticking into Siofin and like a pumping motion within the branch as it's absorbing the fluids from Siofin. Next round, Siofin, I need you to roll me a death test. Could you please roll me a d20? Roll low. Okay, right. You're one step closer, but you're not there yet. If you roll 11 to 19 3 times, you die. So that's 20 dead. If you roll a 1, you're all good. Okay, so that's what you want to happen. Pentio, you can see Siofin is now in a very bad way.
Yeah. Can I is it feasible for Pentio to rush forward and try to sever the branches that are dragging her towards the tree? Like, is this target, or should I just hit the tree? Just like.
You could try and attack the tree. It's going to be a hard fight. You could try and pull it out of the branches, but you'd be looking at a strong test.
No, that's not my chosen stat.
Tell you what, though, if you attack it and you get a critical success, I'll allow you to damage the branch and make it drop her.
Okay, I'll attack it while shouting out. What's my target number?
It's -1. Oh, sorry, no, it's +7 to hit. So
okay, I was like,
yeah.
The tree's gonna dodge me.
Yeah, it's +7 to hit. It's not hard to hit at all. Yeah, you hit it.
Well,
roll damage.
We have the +7.
Now I've got that image of the thing outside of, what do you call them, that go outside of car yards that are all like, woo.
You slash
hit me.
It's a slash. You can't tell if it's done any damage. It doesn't seem to have done much damage. It's a tree. Yeah, you're hacking a tree with a sword, basically.
Yep.
Next we have Vildsvin and Verm.
They're gonna try to get as close as they can to Siofin, together, with the intention of getting her out of harm's way and pulling her to safety. But
okay, you could spend both movement actions doing that. So 2 movement actions to get there, and then you'd be acting next round.
Okay.
Okay. Cool. And lastly, Lothar.
Yeah, I mean, if I can, I guess it would take 1 movement action to notice Siofin's having a hard time, right? Like, I'd get round.
Oh, you see it as soon as you come around. You see Siofin with spines stuck in her all over. Imagine I'm imagining
what's that game where you put people up on
you watch anime, right?
No.
Yeah. It's not good. It's not good.
I know it's not good, but I'm saying, like, I can see, like, do I have the option of being like, okay, well, forget rushing around safely, I can get to her this turn, or is she like massively above the ground?
No, you're around enough that you can see, but you have to run through the branches to do 2 movements to get there, or 1 movement to get straight there. If that makes sense. Like you're in a similar situation to what Pentio was, where to get around, like you could either move safely, which is 2 movement actions, or move through the grasping branches, which would be 1 movement action at risk of being hit. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but I'm more saying, like, is she suspended above the ground?
Yes.
So she's out of touch range.
No. Just, held against the tree. You could run up and grab her, for sure.
I do that. I run up to touch her to try and lay on hands.
Are you going to do it safely or unsafely?
Unsafely. Because I need to do it unsafely to do it this turn.
I need you to roll me a quick at -1.
It's not
if you run past these
quick. All right, hold on. -1, so I need 11 or less. 9 or less. Oop. I fail.
Okay, you take 3 points of damage of gnawing armor as the spines sort of cut you and you feel some sort of poison hurting you, but like a sting. But you make it up to her in one round with this with these wounds upon you. What do you do? Lay on hands?
Attempt to lay on hands.
Okay. You take 2 points of corruption.
I have
and
to
everyone
roll
needs
against Resolute.
Okay.
See if I
roll
even
against-
manage to cast it.
Okay.
There's no modifier on that Resolute roll, so it's a pass.
Okay. You take 2 points of corruption. Everybody needs to roll a Resolute -5.
Even me.
You're a bit unconscious right now.
Fail.
Yeah.
Fail.
Okay. So you cast the spell and you heal Seofin how many points?
1d6, I believe, but I will double check.
Okay.
1d6. Do you want to roll it or shall I?
You roll it.
Alright. You get
With
4
a
back.
start, Seofin comes to and sees everybody flailing at invisible enemies around this tree as a mass hallucination is set in as a result of the corruption that has been spawned from casting this. You feel these spines stuck inside you. The tree can't attack you because it's already got you, but you feel your health sucking out of you. Luckily for you, he rolled a 4 because it does 3 more points of damage as your health gets sucked away and you feel yourself becoming unconscious again. You have a chance here, though, to break free as it's now your turn.
I want to break free.
The nature of these guys swinging around blindly defending themselves mean that the tree is not really focusing on them. But you need to roll a strength versus... yeah. What's your strength?
5.
Okay, well, yeah, you might want to roll a 1, and you can try and break free of the branches of this tree.
I will get right on that. Nope.
Oh no! It's
Yeah, things are bad. Things are real bad at this point.
bye bye.
You guys are all can Sean? You're the one that triggered this. Roll me a d4, please. Three. Okay.
Oh, God.
For 3 rounds, everyone is hallucinating, but Pentio goes twice as long because he rolled a 20. Okay. So for those 3 rounds, I need you to start rolling me. After the next one, you've got one more turn to try and break free of this thing. So roll again. Remember, you can burn permanent corruption for rerolls. Just throwing it out there. Okay. Yeah. So this tree is sucking life out of you, and you've gone unconscious again. So I need 2 death saves from you before the others can do anything to help you at this point.
Okay. Oh,
Okay. Okay. Right. So
Do you want to do any
but
rerolls?
you can't reroll death saves.
Oh, you can't reroll death saves? Oh, God.
Can't reroll death saves. No. Now, Verm, Vildsvin, and Lothar all come to from there. At this point, the tree is not even trying to attack you. The wall is down. It's just trying to absorb some life. Its branches have pulsating red leaves at this point as fluids flow into them and life is coming into them. The gold, by the way, is nowhere to be seen. It's gone. So, first things first, who's first in order? Vildsvin and Verm.
Vildsvin would... How is she elevated off the ground by these? Like, could Vildsvin attack
Kind of,
them?
but not really. She's within reach. Yeah.
I could
Okay,
reach her
well-
to cast Lay on Hands. So you can
Yeah.
you can reach her.
Okay. Well, Vildsvin will try to attack the branches that are holding her. Try to sever the bond, or I don't know if you can knock her out of it, but the goal is to free her. Whatever the
How strong
Knocking
are
out might not
you and Vildsvin? What's your strength?
Vildsvin's
Okay,
a
Vildsvin's
15
really
strength.
high. Okay, what you'd want to do then is Vildsvin would be able to put a tusk in the branches and potentially pull her free. So that's an option. It's a strength versus strength. It's strength 15 as well. So you're looking at a 50-50 chance of pulling her free.
Okay, I'll do that.
Definitely better than attacking, because attacking is almost certainly not going to do it.
Yeah, okay, he'll try to do that then. Let's go.
All right then. Cool.
Pretty good.
Yeah, Vildsvin like hooks up a tusk and rips this branch, and out of it falls the prone, almost lifeless figure of Siofin. What does Verm do?
Verm would put himself between her and the branches that were trying to suck the life from her, assuming that Lothar is going to try to heal her. He can't do anything, so yeah, he'll just put himself between her and the branches. That's it. More of a defensive posture. He doesn't attack for shit. He's going to take more of a defensive posture. I don't know if there's anything for that, but just trying to shield her a bit.
Right. Okay, and what does Lothar do?
It sort of matters what he saw before he started suffering hallucinations. Did he see lay on hands was successful, or did he see lay on hands?
Yeah, you would have seen it work, and then you noticed they're all around you, witch hunters were attacking you.
Okay, all right, because there's a difference between him not thinking it works. Right, so I'm going to try and lay on hands again. Oh, so close to a crit success. Success, and then I guess we're all doing the resolute tests at -5. Yep, I'm aware. Crit success, baby.
Look, I tell you what, because you rolled a crit success, you had such good control over it that the effect doesn't kick in this turn. As a matter of fact, both Vildsvin, Verm, everyone, apart from Pentio, who's still seeing hallucinations from last time because he rolled a 20, everyone else doesn't need to worry about this turn because you managed to isolate a little bit of this thing and save the moment. All right, because you rolled a fucking crit success, I'll give you that. All right, now roll how much you heal Siofin for. 1. It's enough.
Can't have everything. It's enough. We're playing the D&D one up again, down again, up again, down again game.
She coughs to life and wounds all over her, barely closing. She is in a very nasty way. The tree is still here, and it is the tree's turn. The tree is going to attack Vildsvin, and it will attack Verm. No, see, you fucked one of its up. We'll say it only attacks Vildsvin. It does one attack. So Vildsvin needs to roll a defense at -1. As the tree reaches for the pig, which just tore its branches out. Oh, God. Vildsvin doesn't... I'm not going to... Because of the 20, the other branch comes smacking down on Vildsvin as well. So we'll get to that in a moment. But first things first, can Vildsvin please roll me his armor? 1. Okay, Vildsvin takes 8 points of damage. And can he roll quick at -1?
Check what his quick is. That's probably good enough, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, it will be. Yeah. He manages to avoid being picked up, but this thing just smashed him for a lot of damage. Are you taking any of that damage yourself?
Verm takes half of the damage.
Okay. All right. And then the second branch comes swinging down. Roll his defense again, -1.
Oh, sorry.
Defense,
that was armor.
not.
Defense.
Okay. And the second one, yeah, I'm sure that's good enough. So Vildsvin's in a bad way. Both you and Vildsvin takes damage. Next turn, Pentio, roll me resolute.
Okay.
Don't fail.
No.
-5 or just... It doesn't matter.
You have one more turn of seeing these things,
Okay.
and then you're done. So yeah, you're fighting a battle versus all sorts of undead things. You're completely oblivious to the tree, completely oblivious to everything, as the corruption nature around you takes hold. Siofin,
Right.
You're on the ground. The wall is gone at this point. There's nothing between you guys and freedom. The tree was so focused on trying to suck some life out of Siofin that it put its defenses down. What does Siofin do?
Run, crawl, roll, somehow get away from whatever I can do weakly to put distance between me and the tree.
Okay. The tree is so focused on Vildsvin, you can all disengage for free except for Vildsvin. Pintio's not going to be disengaging. So if you want to get him safely out of here, you need to get him out of here. It'll take a persuade test versus his either vigilant or resolute. I'll let him choose. Okay, but Seofin scrambles out. Next is Verm. What does Verm do?
I mean, he's gonna try to back up, but he's gonna try to have Vildsvin come with him, or disengage. Is that an action to disengage, or is that?
He basically, as he disengages, the tree gets a free attack against Vildsvin.
Oh, we get a free attack against Vildsvin.
Yeah.
Then I'm to assume if Vildsvin wanted to get away, that would be like another free attack.
No, it's just as Vildsvin's the only one that has to worry about these free attacks because the tree is focused on the pig. The pig's turned up. It's a big sack full of blood. It's going to go for that. So you can flee for free. All the players can flee for free. Vildsvin will get attacked in the process. Verm's going to back up. He's going to want Vildsvin to back up too, preparing for that attack and preparing to have the damage if he gets hit. So that's what they're going to do. Try to retreat. Okay. Vildsvin needs to roll defense -1.
Okay.
Oof. Is that good enough?
His defense is a 13. So
-1.
Yeah,
so that's enougp.
It's good enough.
That's enough. Yeah.
It's close. The branch crashes down on the ground next to the pig as he steps away, and you follow him out. You make it clear. Next, we have Lothar. Now, Lothar will be conscious of the fact that if he flees, Pintio is on his own against the tree. It's up to you whether or not Lothar thinks Pintio can handle it.
Run!
I'm gonna try and make a persuade against him using one of my actions and then one movement action to get away. So he's gonna make one attempt essentially to try and persuade Pintio. He's gonna say
you're basically grabbing him and trying to pull him along while he's fighting off things. So it'll be as Pintio has to make. Oh, you make the roll, modified by probably his resolute or his vigilance. I'll let Pintio choose.
Vigilance is better.
What's your vigilance?
It's 10, so there's no modifier.
Okay,
so
you need to roll.
Target number is 13. 13. Yep. 13's the target number.
Yeah, he brushes you off. He's fighting invisible phantoms. Do you flee and leave him behind?
I mean, I made an attempt.
Yeah,
okay.
Pintio says, "I'll hold them back. I'll be right behind you."
Right.
We're having separate conversations. Lothar anticipates that meaning he's snapped out. So
you flee out of range of the tree. Right. We're going to cycle around to the next round.
Don't flee.
Pintio comes to and realizes he's alone as the rustling of this tree above him, and it's the tree's turn. So the tree's going to attack Pintio. Pintio, roll your defense -1.
20. Got to make that grave foreshadowing work.
Oh man, now I don't want to roll. Now I don't want to.
I'll roll for you.
Oh, thank Christ!
What's your defense?
It's 18. So the target number is
Really?
17. Yes.
Well, okay, that's impressive. Yeah, the thing swings at you, and you put your shield up, and you feel the weight of this branch clang against your shield, and its vines are reaching around to grab at you, but they're just short of your face. It's your turn. What do you do?
I disengage and run like hell away from this tree.
Okay, it's another free attack by the tree. Then again, target number 17.
Problem.
You feel a branch swing at your ankles. You jump just over it. You get beyond range of the tree. To your horror, as you look behind you, the tree's roots are seeming to come out, and it's moving towards you, but slowly, slow enough that you can all flee. But its relentless sort of pursuit means that you run blindly into the swamp. And we're going to have to complete your adventure out of the Davokar next week.
All right.
Yeah. That was brutal. That was brutal.
11 crit fails, 2 crit successes.
Thanks, Fantasy Grounds. Our virtual tabletop choice. So we've gone over time, so we'll quickly go around everyone, get an idea of their feelings for the adventure, and then wrap up. For me, I wanted to set out and try and create an adventure where you go through the wilderness and get to experience the Davokar as the antagonist, as opposed to just goblins, trolls, things that live in the Davokar. I don't know whether or not this worked. So let's hear from you guys how you felt going through this. You managed to dodge quite a few things that could have happened through your tactful, yet not interacting with that approach. So we'll go around. We'll start with Pentio. Ryan, how was your game?
Man. I was really good. I rolled 4 20s, which I think is funny. Great.
Hey, now you know what it feels like.
Yeah, it sucks being Lothar. Why am I Lothar? This sucks.
It'll be Chopper next week, and then it'll be Verm the final week.
Never.
We're not at all equipped to deal with. We don't have a lore master, so like any of the weird magic stuff of the Davokar, we're like, don't touch it.
Yeah, I mean it's a safe policy. Like I said, you managed to avoid a few engagements. But yeah, look, you fell for the most dangerous of all of them, unfortunately. So yeah,
we didn't. One person did.
Yeah, I was going for a bit more of a horror session. Did I succeed? Was there a bit of a tense feeling? Do you think?
Oh yeah, it felt very tense.
It was unsettling
and unnatural. Yeah, unsettling.
All right. So Siofin, the mouse in the trap. How was that game?
I will never hug another tree. That's it. Nope.
Trees are for burning.
They are now. No, it was good. It's something like that. Like I've always listened to like you and Matt on Blood and Bloodcast talk about the horror games, and I've never fully experienced something that kind of grates on you. So seeing it from the perspective of the character was a little bit different. Like I said, going into this was except for the first time, I consistently got hit with the visions. So with that and the oppressiveness of the force itself, I feel that would have started grating on her. And then going into it, knowing better, I probably would have avoided it. But at the very end of this, after all the shit that's been going on so far, it seems natural that she likes the shiny things. She likes the treasure, and there's gold. And just her mental fortitude would have been worn down to a point where it's like, let's go check it out. What harm could it do?
Yeah,
so,
almost
it does kind of make sense. It makes sense. Like you've had nothing but bad experience, and then here's a positive. Walk us through it.
Considering that her resolute is like 10, so it's not strong. I mean, it's not weak, but it's not strong. So giving in to something like that would be a little bit more along her lines than it would have been, say, Lothar's, who has a higher resolute. Right?
And also, you're putting the vice in front of the person. Like we had, for instance, we saw instincts at play. Like Lothar knew the danger of using magic in the setting, but he saw an undead. By instinct, he's going to use magic to try and smite it, right? Like, it's the sort of thing that what does the character do on impulse? Even though you as a player know, well, I know what the repercussion for this is, but my character will just do this. Would make less sense for my character not to.
Yeah. I'm here for fame and fortune. There's fortune right there. It was a logical step that, hey,
nearly killed you.
Yeah.
Once again, Lothar has to bail you out. This time on screen.
All right. So, Luke, Verm was fun as always. How would you find that game?
It was fun. I'm gonna be curious forever unless you could give me an answer. Because the ritual I was thinking about when we found the sapling was quick growth. That could have turned that sapling into like a full blown ass tree. Like if that would have cured the corruption in like a much wider radius. Or maybe not. I don't even know if that was the source of it. And I was also thinking about digging it up, but thought that was maybe a bad idea, taking it with me.
Yeah.
So we won't know.
You won't know. You have to go
I'm
back.
glad to not
Maybe
know.
there can be Verm's obsession going forward.
Yeah, one of his many regrets.
We are the mates.
Yeah, but it was fun.
Yeah, cool. And Sean, how did you find it?
I found it good. I mean, there were certain things that I recognized from previous games that I had to be very careful to not say anything about. Yeah. Like, I know what happens if things are. Let's just say I know one path that could have taken, and we don't have a mule in our party, so it would have been hello, a certain thing that we
get a
didn't
mule.
want to deal with. Yeah, and I also enjoyed that actually you sort of, when you don't throw characters in front of the party, you sort of get to explore, like as adversaries, you sort of get to explore the psyche of the character a bit better, because it's about it's focused on the response as opposed to like words said and whatever. So I think we got to see a little bit more about like the fears, the motivations, what characters do on instinct this session, which is pretty cool. I felt like there was some quality RP today, and if you disagree, well, you don't know what quality RP is like.
No, I agree. That was kind of my thinking, right? It was like to have a series of events where, for most of them, they were relatively mundane. It was how does the party react? There was a lot of if X, then Y. And, you managed to avoid some quite nasty things, which suits me, because one of these encounters in particular is fucking spooky, and I'm saving it. So there won't be a grave marker attached to it this time, but I'm going to use it again. But no, that was good fun. I'm glad I got to do it. I always enjoy like a good sort of adventure, like exploration / horror combo, where the party feels alone and isolated and things aren't right. And we get to do probably not a whole session with next week, but you still have to get out of the swamp. So it'll be interesting. So before we finish up, let's have a quick shout out to our sponsors. Fantasy Grounds, the virtual tabletop of choice, which seems to make the point of people donating critical failures completely redundant, because it gives these guys so fucking many. Who will be Lothar next week? Come back and find out. You can check it out for free at fantasygrounds.com. Next is Wayland Games, waylandgames.co.uk. Huge range of D&D, Warhammer 40k minis, generally for 20% off. And this week we have our new sponsor, which has come in recently, Dice Envy. You have a subscription service where you pay $5 every month and you get limited runs of dice delivered to you, diceenvy.com. And that's basically us. Come back next time. If you're watching this on YouTube, we play every week, Saturday, 11 p.m. Eastern. Obviously, as I just mentioned, these videos go up on YouTube. They're also live here on Twitch after we play, so feel free to go through, get clips, taunt our players, come and talk to us over on the Encounter RP Discord, Twitter, all that sort of stuff. But that was fucking great fun. I'm going to go have some dinner. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see y'all next week.
Take it easy, everyone.